spent so much time thinking about it was pink.
So Galveston County Jail said that inmates were the first to wear the pink hot uniforms, volunteered for a group photo. Galveston County isn't the first Texas jail to think pink. New sheriff in Mason County, northwest of Austin, made the switch back in 2006. Wasn't just the jumpsuits. Inmates also wore pink slippers, slept under pink sheets while surrounded by pink walls and pink bars. 3 county inmates in jail told the AP in 2006 they didn't even want to go outside on work details where people would see them.
Well, that's going to be a problem right there. We're going to need you on the work details.
Sheriff Clint Lamb claimed back then that the rate of repeat offenders dropped 70% when he switched to pink. He said the pink walls also kept tempers in check, and there were no more fights between inmates when they were painted.
It seems to me like I think I would want to just color the uniforms on aggressiveness, who I should keep an eye on.
Yeah, based on the level of the crime. Like, your petty theft, you wear yellow. This guy over here, he's a serial killer. He's going to be a purple.
Yeah.
We're going to keep an eye on the purples.
You know,
right?
I may not agree with the colors, but, you know, it seems like if Lance is aggressive, I'd want the aggressive guys to be in a certain color.
I agree.
The passive guys who are working a lot.
That's right.
Helping to keep the peace.
You know what you could even do? You could even earn your colors, like Lance. If you don't have an aggressive outburst for 5 weeks, you're going to be able to move to green.
Everybody's going to black.
Yeah.
You know they
will take you from red to yellow.
That's right. Yeah, I mean
you'll be cautioned at that point.
Yeah, you can be incentivized.
Not stopped.
Yeah.
So thanks to Paramount.
And then I guess there could still be a few pinks in there.
Well, it could be. Yeah.
Yeah. Very passive.
Thanks to Paramount Plus, you no longer have to scour YouTube to find your favorite MTV Unplugged performances. That's right. Streamers added more than 100 episodes of Unplugged, as well as VH1 Storytellers
I used to love those.
and CMT Crossroads. I will say that I've gone and I've sought out Behind the Music.
That's the one I want.
Yeah.
I was about to ask you, is MTV's Behind the Music? I've done the
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out. Flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat. And please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com. Call the Next Round now at 205-734-0923. Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at Scott Forrester TV. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, another crazy day in the NFL. Some of the names that are getting cut, traded, released, requesting trade. We'll get to another interesting day in the NFL offseason. Coming up a little bit later on, some college football news, including Ryann Grubb talking about the Alabama offense as he takes over. 2 days of practice under the belt there. Belichick on the field, his thoughts after his first day of coaching college kids.
Cheerful? Was he cheerful?
He was more cheerful than he used to be. But we got to start, of course, with basketball this time of year. It is March after all, and Florida goes into Tuscaloosa in a battle of two top 7 teams, and they make a case now to be a number 1 seed in the upcoming NCAA tournament, winning 99-94. And what was I'll just say it was a weird night in the arena because for several reasons. The last one being that they held senior night again afterwards. Apparently, I haven't been around for senior night. They held it after the game. And when you lose on senior night and the senior event is after the game, first of all, there's not a lot of people around in the stands still.
Right. I
noticed that. Families.
Notice that.
This is after the game. Mark Sears walks and shakes some, fans' hands. This is the entire team. The students that are still left, not a ton of them after the game at this point.
You don't want to do this after the game.
Yeah, but then they go up and they make their way to the court. They bring down the families, and this is Mark's final time on the court at Coleman Coliseum. He's the last name introduced. He's been all SEC player. He's led Alabama to a Final Four, just a historic career there in Tuscaloosa. Then he signs a few autographs on the way out, but it just, I don't know about having it afterwards.
Yeah.
It didn't work last night. Last 2 years, they've beaten Arkansas in the final game, so it wasn't so bad, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't know this was a thing. Did you, Brown?
It's a little old school. I mean, I don't know how Alabama and Auburn have always done it, to be honest with you. I do remember back in the day, and I just remember weird things. Indiana used to do it this way.
Was after the game.
After the game, and it would air, and I think Kentucky too, and it would air live, like
on local TV.
Yeah, ESPN would end their broadcast, and Channel 4 in Indianapolis would go live. All right, we're going to take you back out to Senior Day, and Bob Knight would say something about each senior.
Yeah.
So I think that is a little bit old school, is doing it that way. I don't know that. I would imagine Nate Oates just doesn't want the interruption of his normal pregame.
Yeah, or the players. The players may say, we don't want it. I don't know. But anyway.
Or maybe you use it as motivation, like, hey, don't forget.
Yeah, don't lose.
Don't lose. It's going to be a crappy senior night if you lose.
That's what Forster had said before the show. He goes, maybe he's using it as motivation. Anyway, that was the last of the weird things that was
Wouldn't
happening.
that also motivate Florida, too?
Yes.
Like, if I'm the
100%.
villain, I want to ruin your senior night.
Yeah.
And I don't want to leave right away. I want to pull up a chair and watch you guys have to walk around.
Yeah. Good job, Mark Sears.
Great career.
Yep.
And then actually in the game, it was so weird because in the first half, I don't keep up with these stats. I'm sure somebody does. The number of, I wouldn't call them mid-range 2-point jumpers Alabama was taking, but I would say 5 to 7 or 8 feet shots they were having to take early on just to make 2-point buckets because they couldn't get to the rim. They couldn't shoot a three. They were that space in between, which I'm okay with them taking them. Maybe that loosens some things up, but
it's what Nate Oates doesn't want to do.
There were so many 8-foot shots that they were making a lot of them, but that's just where the hole was in the offense.
Everything was old school about last night, right?
I know. Oddly, they might be better there than they are at the rim right now, though. That's the weird thing. They're so bad at the rim
They
currently.
missed so many short
I don't get it.
bunnies, I guess.
don't get it. It's just so weird with their length, with Amore, with Stevenson's length, with Nelson's length. Their shots at the rim just aren't great right now, and those just add up.
Well, let me say this about Florida, though, because you talk about, Todd Golden's known for his offense, and Alabama did score 94 points, but, just little subtle adjustments he makes, and I think you can make the argument, as good as Auburn is, Florida, best team in college basketball. They need to be a 1C.
ESPN does a lot of things right. And they do a lot of things wrong. But one of the things I've never understood, and it's this way in college football too, the win predictor, but the playoff projector, they had Seth Greenberg on the set this morning on our TV3 here, and they'd shown the Alabama highlights, and afterwards, while he's talking about Florida, ESPN predictor to win national championship for Florida. What do you think it was?
ESPN's win predictor?
The predictor for Florida.
Are you talking about just a percentage?
A percentage number for Florida to win the national championship according to the ESPN projection.
I would go
8%.
12. I was going to go 12%.
What did you say, Brown?
8%.
8%. Well, it's not that far off then. Maybe it's not broken. Maybe my
I was
head's
say
broken.
12.
It was 5%.
What would you put Auburn's at? They're going to be the overall number one, or Duke. I mean, what would you put
I
theirs
would
at?
put both at like 15%.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
so
the highest you're going to go.
15 is the highest.
Oh, yeah, because
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just think about it.
Then my predictor's off.
Yeah, it's your.
Last year
you got a
was
small predictor.
Probably a little
Actually,
different.
my predictor's huge. But I mean, my predictor
overstated. In fact.
Yeah, I was going to say Auburn would have been 30%.
Yeah.
And I would put
This isn't women's hoops.
I'd put Duke at 25%. I'd put Houston at 20%. I'd put Florida at 20%.
Well, Florida is
I'm running out of percentages, I guess. Is that the way it works? You can only have
Florida
100?
is finally whole. I mean, Alex Condon, and you saw it, the Auburn Tigers saw it in their loss earlier this year. But to play 30 minutes and go 27-10, and they didn't have an answer for Condon.
With their orange-colored numbering at the far end of the court at Coleman Coliseum, with their lighting in my age, all those backdoor dunks, were they all Condon, or were some of them other guys? Those little lob alley-oops when he ran the back door. I know 2 of them were Condon.
The last lob, the one hand was Condon.
Yeah. In the chat room, someone said Greg Burns going to have to replace one of the rims in Coleman last night because Florida.
Hey, but
Florida was tearing it up.
Who would have had Mark Sears 30 points, no turnovers? Alabama only 6 turnovers. They score 94 points at home and lose.
And those 6 turnovers, like 3 or 4 of them came in bunch or in a hurry right there.
Yeah.
I mean, they played a large portion of that game almost not turning the ball
Yeah.
over.
Now, our friend from Greg from Pell City, I'm sure he might have texted you guys too, but he was like, every loose ball is going to Florida. And look, it showed on the boards 50-35. I mean, they completely dominated.
Yeah, they had 19 second chance points, but you got out-rebounded by 15 at home. But not just the rebounds. Like you said, the 50-50 balls that are knocked away and on the floor. I don't know if bad breaks, it's bouncing to the other team, or I guess if it's 50-50, you have the equal opportunity to get it by its name, 50-50. But it did seem like Florida was getting every ball that was out there.
Well, Oates kind of mentioned that after the game. Zach says, I don't know who the Florida guy was, Dunaway, but it's whoever was Jaron was on. That's who was getting the backdoor cuts.
I disagree on that.
Oh, you don't?
No,
you like the
no.
way Jaron Stevenson's playing? I will say.
No, I mean, I
he's
think
a popular pinata in the chat room,
It
Jaron
is,
Stevenson
but I
is.
think if you look at, I think right now, if you look at, pull it up, Forrester. Forrester has the plus minus from last night.
Right.
I did not ask him about Stevenson. I think Youngblood was a minus 11 or minus 12. Sears was a minus something, but down low, I mean, Cliff's minus is not going to be that bad, but some of that's Cliff having to close that back door off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying Stevenson's plus minus was better than what?
I
the
don't
chat
know what
room would say?
Stevenson's is, so
I would think
I've walked
Phylon's-
out of the ledge here.
Phylon's had to be your best last night.
I did feel like Phylon, and I haven't checked the
All right,
minutes
give me 2
played.
seconds, I'll find it.
I haven't checked the minutes played in the second half, but I'd love the chat room to tell me. As I watched the game, I literally had to ask the stat geeks in front of me that run the metrics, Alabama metrics, the analytics.
Right.
I asked those guys, I was like, hey, it was during one of the timeouts, like the under 12 timeout. Maybe it was the under 8. I think it was under 8 timeout. I said, hey, has Aiden Holloway played in the second half? And the first kid was like, I don't think so. And then they looked it up, and they were like, yeah, he came in for one run. It didn't seem like he played in the second half.
Non-factor. Just never was in the mix.
Stevenson actually had one of the better plus minuses for Bama last night.
Stevenson was 0.
Thank you.
Well, he was not plus nor minus. He was 0. The only pluses for Alabama last night were Phylon at 12, like you said, and Aiden Sherrill at 6. Everybody else was under par.
Yeah.
I've got Holloway at plus 2.
Yeah, and didn't play a lot in the second half. But here's the deal: as we get to Rece Davis here,
I got Holloway at -1 on the one from Alabama, Scott. So that was the only thing I was going on.
Rece Davis, College Game Day, will join us here. Keep in mind, Alabama's lost 4 of 6, but it's in the toughest league. It's hard to ease over the fact, though, you've lost 4 and 6. There's some uneasiness in Tuscaloosa right now.
Fresh back home from Oxford, Mississippi is Rece Davis, where he saw Ole Miss upset Tennessee last night. Rece has seen just how hard it is to go on the road in this conference. Florida was able to do it last night. Rece, I like the fact that you come on when we're talking plus minus. You know we're a bunch of idiots, but it probably makes us sound like, oh, these guys, they're talking plus minus now.
Basketball nerds.
Yeah, I thought these 3 guys were complete idiots.
How many points per possession for each of those guys you were talking about?
Alabama didn't send that out, so
They're going to have to give me that on a release.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I didn't see much of the Alabama game last night. Obviously, courtside in Oxford, but I do think for whatever reason that when I've watched them recently, they're so good that they're able to stay in games, but it seems as if something's just a little off. You know, if you follow what I mean, it's like they're talented enough, they play hard enough and all of that to stay in games, although it looked as if they got whipped on the boards pretty good last night. But Florida's going to do that to a lot of teams, a lot of good teams. But it just seems like they haven't quite found their rhythm, and the guys haven't quite played to their capabilities consistently enough. You guys mentioned Stevenson. The one thing I think to remember about Jaron is that he really is supposed to be a freshman this year, so he's still young. But he's the guy that I anticipated that this year that would roll out of bed and give them, 15 and 7 every night. And then some nights he would give them 28 and 12. And it hasn't gone that way for him, this year. But I still think there's that capability. And he's done a lot of other things well. I think Nelson's been pretty inconsistent. And while you love everything that, that Youngblood has done, you would like to see more scoring. I think more offensive, in addition to 3-point shooting, getting the basket and stuff like that. But it's funny because even guys that I'm mentioning like that have done so many good things. Jaron Stevenson's done a lot of really good things on the defensive end of the floor and moving the basketball. And it's just like something's just a hair off, but they're so good they're still in most of the games. And it's it remains to be seen whether they can get things fixed. Certainly Saturday won't be a great place to try to fix.
No, not at all.
Once you get into the postseason, it'll be interesting to see if they can put it together and sort of click on all cylinders as they did a year ago.
Rece, we had an interesting question posed yesterday. Where is Mark Sears' place in Alabama history? And he's coming off another 30-point night last night. Didn't shoot it extremely well, but didn't turn the basketball over. Obviously was one of the best players in college basketball last year, en route to Alabama's first ever Final Four appearance. But, we also did reference the fact we got a lot of guys under 30 that watch and listen to us that don't know about the Leon Douglases and the Buck Johnsons and the Derek McKees of the world. But for you, a guy that actually went to school there, you said last time you were on with us, you and your buddies used to travel to some of these road Alabama games. Where would Mark Sears, would he be in your starting 5 all-time Alabama players?
Probably. Yeah, I think so, just because of what he's accomplished. With being part of a team, won the SEC regular season and tournament, being part of the first Final Four team, being the leader, putting up the big points and making, big shots. He made a ton of big shots against Clemson and Carolina in the tournament last year. I mean, I think so. Now, am I going to sit here and tell you that he is as gifted an athlete and explosive as Latrell Sprewell? Well, no, probably not. But if you're going starting 5 all-time Alabama basketball based on ability combined with accomplishment, I don't think there's any question that Mark is in the starting 5. He may wind up being the most because of that, depending on what happens in the future. Who knows if he might wind up being the most revered player in Alabama history simply because he was largely responsible for leading their first team to the Final Four.
Yeah, I agree. And senior night last night didn't end the way Mark Sears wanted it to. You mentioned their trip, Alabama's trip to Auburn coming up this weekend. Auburn coming off the loss to Texas A&M. We talk about this all the time and have for years on the show. We're a football culture that has now been drug into this basketball eliteness with the SEC this year, and we all overreact to every loss. Where are you with Auburn right now? Coming off of that loss, going in, they also lost to Florida. They also lost to Duke, but they haven't lost to anybody else in America. You still good with Auburn as a national championship contender?
No question. I still think Auburn's the best team in the country. Now, Florida's closing fast, and Duke is certainly, I've said this, I think, to you guys before. I came away from the Auburn-Duke game. That's a long time ago, and I want to be clear. Duke is much improved and much better. Duke won the game, and I came away from that game going, yeah, okay, Duke won the game. Cameron, crazy environment, really good team. Auburn's better than they are. And I think Auburn's the best team with Florida closing fast and Duke right there with them. I'm not at all bothered by the A&M loss. They went on the road after they clinched everything. It was so predictable. If you'd injected truth serum into Bruce Pearl, he knew they were going to lose. It's just, it's human nature. It's a long season. A&M needed it desperately. They were on a losing skid. Auburn played hard. They tried. I'm not suggesting they didn't try. Just such a long season. You're going to have those moments. I mean, that was very, very predictable, and I'm not in the least bit worried about Auburn. I think Auburn's going to go to the Final Four, and I think Auburn is still the favorite to win the national championship. And if we wind up with those 3 teams I mentioned, along with whoever else comes through, whether it's a little bit more chalky and it's Houston or Tennessee or Alabama, then it'll be great. And if it's an outlier, that we maybe haven't paid as much attention to, sort of like we got in the Final Four last year with Alabama and NC State, then that'll be fun too. But I'll be surprised if Auburn's not in the Final Four. I think they're a great team. They're old. They've got a mistake eraser in Janai Broome. I referenced, I don't know if I brought it up on the air, but I was talking, I think, to some of the Ole Miss people yesterday that I thought Ole Miss in their game against Auburn in Oxford played as well as you could possibly play. And every time they got close, Auburn made a play. Janai Broome hit a three, a contested three. Chad Baker-Mazar would hit a shot. Pettiford would do something. They just have that about them. They answer when the moment gets tough. So that game doesn't bother me in the least. It's basketball. You're going to lose a game every now and then. And heck, probably serve them well. I'm not a big believer in the whole you need to lose thing sometimes, but sometimes there are benefits from it, and that might benefit Auburn in the long run. The bigger question is, how do you approach the SEC tournament? Now, of course, you try to win, because if they're giving a trophy away, you should try to get it. If you're competing in a game, you should try to win. But whoever doesn't win will probably reap the benefits of not going through that meat grinder, because that's what that is going to be. I saw evidence of that last night in Oxford. Jimmy Dykes made a great point. He said that game is like a 1 seed versus an 8-9 winner in the second round of the tournament. That's what that is. And like every game is going to be that or beyond in the SEC tournament. So I'm not at all suggesting, do the NBA thing and load manage people. I'm not saying that for a second. But if you do get knocked off, there will probably be some benefits to not going through the whole thing.
ESPN's Rece Davis is on the Shannara hotline. It's a tough sell on Auburn because, Rece, we sat here last year and watched them win the SEC tournament and still get sent to Spokane, Washington. So, you
know what? I am not. Go play, man.
No, I'm
wherever
with you.
They send you, go play.
I'm with you.
Stop with all that nonsense.
I'm with you.
So what? Spokane's lovely. The best hotel in all of the road trips that we've been on in College Game Day is the Hotel Davenport in Spokane, Washington.
Really?
So stop already. Get on the plane and go to Spokane. Mark, you can tell you where to get a nice dinner. It's a great. I would. You know what? When you start worrying about stuff like that, you start getting distracted. You get beat by Yale. So it's like, don't do that. Just go play. They're going to rip through this thing. They're going to go to the Final Four, I think.
What makes it such a good hotel? Why is the Hotel Davenport the top of the Rece Davis
It's an
list?
old historic place that they've refurbished, and the beds are so comfortable that they put in the lobbies ways that you can reach out to them and order the beds. It's got great food, beautiful architecture, nice downtown. Spokane's lovely, and you can go to John Stockton's father's bar and get a beverage and a nice burger. Spokane's awesome. Spokane's a great place. Hard to get there, but great.
Wow. So you were courtside last night in Oxford, as you said. If you ask 10 basketball insiders, best coach in the SEC, multiple guys are going to have Chris Beard right there. That was quite the comeback, quite the close there. How dangerous can this Ole Miss team be once they get to the NCAA tournament?
Really dangerous because they play great defense. They're old. I think they're the third oldest team in college basketball. They've got a lot of different weapons. The one thing that they struggle with from time to time, and they did a good job last night, was staying even on the boards against good rebounding teams. So there will be some bad matchups for them. They do not turn the ball over, and they typically, if you don't have Zakai Ziegler running things for you, they can turn you over. And they've outscored their opponents' points off turnovers. Oh, I think they did last night too. So I want to say 22 times this year, and so they find ways to offset some of their rebounding problems. They've got multiple guys can score, and then Brakefield was something else last night, taking over the game in the second half after really scuffling in the first half. Maybe the emotions, because he's kind of been their emotional leader. So he really played well in the second half. And that Tennessee team is, those are grown men and they're tough. And, they're really good. They've got a lot of offensive weaponry. So that was a great win for Ole Miss. But I do think, honesty compels me to say, can they beat a 1 seed if they're like an 8-9 or a 2 seed if they're 7? Of course they can. They've proven that. I think it might be a little tougher for them to string together like 4 in a row and go to the Final Four. But Beard said yesterday, he goes, look, we're not going to be favored to do it. He goes, but we think we can do it. And they're going to have to be dealt with. They've got a really good team. and Tennessee, obviously, the Final Four contender as well.
You guys are heading back to the Duke-Carolina rivalry with game day this weekend. I was in a building last night that both Elvis and Pistol Pete played in. They're talking about building a new arena up at North Carolina already. I mean, they built this Dean Dome in my lifetime, Rece. Is that a good basketball building? Why are they building a new one up there?
It is, but they're ready for a new one. It's a really good building. And Billis played in the first game. Their Duke Carolina game was the first game in the Dean Dome, so, in the '80s. So they're ready for a new one. I mean, with the pedigree they have in basketball and the tradition, it's a good building, but they're ready for a new one, and it'll be spectacular, I'm sure.
Will they go small like Duke? Will they go smaller like everyone else is doing?
No, I mean, no, they won't go that small. Their crowds are two big alumni bases, a lot larger than Duke's, obviously, public versus private institution, undergrad enrollment, and so forth. So I don't know. I don't recall what the number is, Jim, but they're not going to shrink it down. But I'm sure it'll be great. But it's an interesting time when you start thinking about doing things like that, because with the revenue sharing coming and needing to put the money toward the players, you have to balance out, okay, what do I really need? Do I need a practice facility, or do I need a new arena? Because, it's easy to say, well, the money's got to go to the players. I can't get whatever facility it is. But you also have to think about your paying customers. How can you generate revenue with an arena? All of those things come into play, and each institution has to make the decision of what they think is best for them.
Rece, we know you got to jump out of here, but one quick football question. Spring football started in Tuscaloosa on Monday. It's actually page 2 compared to basketball right now, believe that or not. But what's your expectation year 2, Kalen DeBoer, with Ryann Grubb back as offensive coordinator?
Well, look, Ryan's an outstanding coach, but so is Nick Sheridan. And Kalen's also an offensive, mastermind. Last year, I don't think is a fair way to judge, how Nick Sheridan will ultimately be as a play caller or whatever, or what the Kalen DeBoer era is going to look like at Alabama. It's transition year, and it had some ups and downs, and certainly didn't go the way they wanted a couple of key moments. But I think you'll see something that's probably a little crisper than it was last year, because there appeared to be some loose ends here and there a season ago. I imagine that will be tightened up, and Ryan's a tough guy who has a history of getting the most out of particularly the guys up front, and I think they'll do a good job with the quarterbacks. And I think based on early returns, I think they've got really good options at quarterback. Obviously, Ty Simpson would be the favorite. And I know that everybody's excited about the freshman, and understandably so. He's a very gifted guy from what I've seen in highlights. But I'm going to tell you, this cat that transferred to Alabama from Washington, Austin Mack, watch that ball come out of his hand and tell me it's not pretty. I mean, he's a big dude too. So I wouldn't write him off just yet either. I know they were very high on him at UW, and he's a talented dude too. So they've got good options, just inexperienced ones. But I think they'll feel very much improved in terms of being more crisp, a little bit more consistent in year 2. That's my expectation.
As always, we want to thank Wheels Up for getting Rece from Oxford to our interview this morning at his house.
Wait! Don't credit the wrong people.
That's
not fair. Why would you give someone free advertising? They didn't do anything.
I'm very impressed, Rece, that you got from Oxford to your house. That is quite impressive. Yes.
Got to credit the right company there, guys.
Who is it? Give them credit.
No.
Okay.
They got to buy advertising on your show. Get that. They're not getting that.
We'll sign right up for that.
Or does Rece have his own plane now that we just don't know about? You don't want the humble flex.
No. That's a fool's errand. All you have to do is look at all the people who lost their shorts doing something silly like that.
Thank you, Rece. We'll see you Saturday morning at Chapel Hill. Take care.
See you guys.
All right, buddy. ESPN's Rece Davis on the Alexander Shinora Trial Attorneys Hotline.
Yeah, I wish it was. Would like to thank our buddy Dan Orlovsky for loaning a plane to Rece. I hope he gets that new contract worked out.
Pretty incredible that he's in the friendly confines of his home in Connecticut. I think it's Connecticut.
I don't think he lives in Connecticut anymore. I don't know if he wants us advertising where he lives. I don't know. I mean,
but he's up in the Northeast, right? I mean, to get from Oxford.
Yeah, to get from Oxford to wherever he is. That's
pretty impressive.
It's an impressive flight.
Whether it's in Birmingham or Atlanta or in the Carolinas or all the way up to Connecticut, it's.
I don't think by releasing his state we're going to have a stalker go after Rece.
Maybe not. I just never know.
I don't know.
Never know who wants people to know where they live.
I don't know. He loves that hotel in Spokane, and they send that flag to every game
the
day
Davenport.
from Washington State.
I'd like to check that out.
If they're advertising the bed and the lobby, that's a good bed, right?
Yeah.
Taylor.
It's like, after watching Tulsa King, I want to stay at the Mayo
Did you
in
stay at the
Tulsa.
Davenport? Yeah. What was the hotel you stayed at in Spokane? Did they stay at the Davenport?
I have no idea.
When she was out there, I don't
know.
They were at the team hotel, and Alabama and Auburn were both there. I can't imagine. I mean, how high were the seeds last year for Auburn and Alabama? They were the highest seeded teams in the
4. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I would think that hotel was already pre-booked.
I know, but I wonder if they were pre-booked by
the NCAA.
By the NCAA teams for the highest seeded teams that were there. Because I don't think UAB got to stay at the same hotel Alabama and Auburn did. I wonder if that was with.
No, I guarantee we have somebody listening right now that stayed at the Davenport.
At the Davenport?
Yeah.
That have been to the Davenport.
Spokane does sound like a cool place to go.
Yeah, but it just seems like a pain in the ass to get to.
There's no. Now even Rece said that. He's like, it's great now. It's tough to get there.
Yeah.
But it's a great spot.
Yeah. He jumped on that Yale comment pretty quick too for an Alabama grad. Here's a collection of hotels for every traveler, and the Davenport's on there. Look at that. Oh, look at that lobby.
Boy, that is nice.
That is nice.
I've heard about Stockton's Old Man's Bar, too.
Yeah, I have too. I heard he still worked there. Last time I heard. I don't know if he still does. I don't even know if he's still alive.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Wow.
That's a pretty hotel.
Wow. That is a pretty hotel.
Yeah. I don't think Little T stayed there.
Yeah, I'm going to say that was not the media hotel in
not
Spokane.
as impressive from the outside, though, when you see the outside.
It's an old-looking building, but boy, nice inside. That is a nice hotel.
Way to go. Congratulations,
hard to believe
Davenport.
Spokane has a demand for that nice of a hotel.
Right.
We'll get to the locker room reaction to Alabama's loss last night. Show brought to you by a couple of our great sponsors, one of them Storm Restoration Roofing. If you're still recovering from the windstorm the other night, picking up the pieces, if you got some damage, maybe you don't even know if you have damage up there. The wind's so strong, and maybe a couple of blocks down the street, they've got a few of your shingles, and you don't know it yet. Get Greg up on top of that roof and get a free no-cost roof inspection, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531, or Greg from Pell City on Facebook. Check him out. They're A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. Locally owned for over 20 years. He and his wife, Andrea, run the company. They've got some kids and son-in-laws that are on the crews out there. They help run the business, and they'll take care of a full roof replacement for you, storm damage, roofing repairs, and that free no-cost roof inspection, all with the best customer service you'll ever find. 205-542-3531 or Greg from Pell City on Facebook, and our friends at Alabama Power. As the storms, spring storms, summer storms are coming, keep Alabama Power front of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to make sure you're ready for storm season. Severe weather can pop up when you least expect it, and that is why Alabama Power is always ready with the tech and know-how to get your power back on fast, tools to prevent outages, and a team on call 24/7. They are there to keep you safe and in the loop. You can stay ahead, too. Head to alabamapower.com/storm for storm safety tips, how to report an outage, and how to stay updated when storms are coming. That's alabamapower.com/storm. Stay safe out there, everybody, with Alabama Power.
All right. Back in a moment on the next round. We'll go to the locker room, hear from Nate Oates, hear from Todd Golden on just how well his team is playing right now, and everything else going on in football, including in basketball. But we'll also get to football and Ryann Grubb's comments after practice, his first time to talk to the Alabama media. All that's coming up right here on the next round.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinora, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services be performed is greater than those of other lawyers. Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
There's no off-season at covercrimson.com. Sign up now and get daily shows plus behind-the-scenes intel that will keep your Alabama fandom rolling all the way up until kickoff. Follow Cover Crimson on all social platforms and sign up today at covercrimson.com.
As we all know, there's no off-season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Auburn, join us over on thebarnauburn.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on thebarnauburn.com.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Back with you now. Let's get back to a reaction of what we saw last night, but just a couple other things before LT tells us about New York Butcher Shop. Oklahoma got a win against Missouri, 96-84. Fears had 31. Listen, on this bubble for the SEC, the bubble teams all had huge wins this week.
Yeah, the last 48 hours for bubble teams have been gigantic.
But they can't all get in, I don't think.
It's going to be tough. But you heard Dowling Cuff yesterday on the show said he thinks 13 are going to get in. So if that's the fact, then yeah, they're all going to get in. But the thing I would say, I don't necessarily know, and that was a huge win for Oklahoma last night over a top 15 team. Much like Texas, they have got a big-time scorer. Fears goes for a career-high 31. Trey Johnson for Texas. I mean, these are guys you do want to see in the tournament.
That's right. These are the star players you want to see. But I did a little research after Dallin said that yesterday. And just procedural, and I think we all know this, but I think it's worth making a point, that they don't look at conferences or conference games any different than they do out-of-conference games. the committee, the selection
So in
committee.
other words, a game is a game. It's just all resume
You
based.
get a sheet, and it doesn't matter if you beat Houston or if you beat Auburn. It doesn't, if you're in the SEC, Auburn's win is the same as Houston's win, by the metrics of whatever those teams are. So you're judged by your complete schedule and not the fact that you're in a conference. That's the way they're supposed to do it. No conference affiliation. So all 13 or 14 SEC teams will be looked at as individuals, not as SEC teams, or at least they say.
So we discussed this with Oklahoma Monday when you were out, and I'm going to pull it up because they had some impressive pre-conference wins.
Yeah, they did, and that was the difference in them and Texas. I do kind of think Oklahoma wins in Austin on Saturday, they're in.
You think Texas is too?
If Texas wins, I don't know.
No. I'm saying if Oklahoma wins, do you think Texas?
No,
or does that knock Texas out?
I think Texas is out.
So it's almost an elimination game there.
Yeah.
And there is that growth, because we've talked so much, not just us, the whole nation has talked so much about the SEC's dominance since the pre-conference, that a lot of people are talking about now at this point the conference being overrated. So much so that the commissioner of the SEC yesterday sent out a tweet talking, for those that are talking about the SEC being overrated.
It was your boy Danny Cannell.
Danny Cannell was playing off Ken Pomeroy.
Yeah.
Ken Pomeroy, I don't know if he was being sarcastic or not, but Ken had tweeted out, when are we going to discuss the SEC being overrated?
Dude, the anti-SEC for him.
To which Danny Cannell said, please, I've been saying this for 3 months. Most of that is tongue-in-cheek with Cannell now that I've got to know him. But then Sankey retweets both of them, and it is a list of just accomplishments by the conference. Just boom, 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 boom.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't part of the reason we talk about them the way they do because Pomeroy's rankings show that it's the best conference he's ever ranked? Am I wrong about that?
No, he does say that, yeah. And here's Greg's tweet from the SEC commissioner now, from the desk up, just helping explain why the SEC is, quote, overrated, end quote. 30 wins, 4 losses versus the ACC. And then the commissioner puts in parentheses, wow. 14 wins, 2 losses versus the Big 12. In parentheses, the commissioner puts, oh my.
Oh my.
Yeah. 10 wins, 9 losses versus the Big 10. He just gives it a thumbs up, like 2 good conferences.
Yeah.
185 wins, 23 losses in non-conference games, sunglass wearing emoji.
That is an old man emoji right there.
And then he just runs full speed into the back bumper of Carl Ravage by going, I confess SEC teams have been 500 since January 4th, laughing emoji. Sure, let's go with overrated. And then he puts basketball in parentheses. That's from the freaking SEC commissioner yesterday.
Is poor Carl Ravage's career going to be defined by that one comment?
Poor Carl. He said it.
Such a good guy.
Otherwise, good career.
I loved him during. I fell in love with Carl during Baseball Tonight.
Yeah, me too. I always associate. Carl was one of those old school '90s Sports Center guys, but I always associate him with baseball.
Yeah. Did you do New York Butcher yet? Would you tell us about New York Butcher?
Yeah, sure will. New York Butcher Shop. We've got some great product up here from the New York Butcher Shop that I picked up a couple of days ago, but you can stop, get the weekend kicked off a little early on a Thursday, pick up a couple of steaks on your way home, be the hero, some of those delicious sides from the mac and cheese, the goat cheese, mashed potatoes, squash casserole, just fantastic stuff. Don't forget about the huge deli sandwiches for lunch or dinner. Fantastic selection of fine wines and desserts. 2 locations for you. Cabo Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
And our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama, making sure you're on top of your health today. Urology Centers of Alabama, 16 wonderful locations to help you as you get a little bit older, guys, from your 20s to 30s and 30s to 50s and 50s to 70s. Prostate health, kidney stones, everything in between. 16 locations, all the great urologists, and they will help you find and set up a regimen to stay on top of your health. Early detection is so important, life-saving, in fact. 205-930-0920, 930-0920, urologycentersalabama.com. Brownie.
Again, we're to the point of the year where Joe Lunardi quits doing brackets every day, so I don't know what to tell you what Joe says about Oklahoma. But the point we made Friday, and you just made this point, or Monday, and you just made this point, this was just somebody saying this on Twitter, but you're saying this is actually the way the NCAA Selection Committee looks at this.
That's right.
Is Oklahoma had pre-conference wins against Arizona, good team.
Yep.
Louisville, surprisingly good team this year.
They going into this, I think they've won 17 of 18.
Michigan, who I just watched last night against Maryland.
Maryland's a good team.
Maryland's a good team, but Michigan right in the mix under Dusty May in his first year for the Big Ten crown.
Yeah, Crab 5 has 2 NBA players on it.
Yeah. So those are 3 good wins. And the only point the guy was making is, if you just move those 3 wins into conference play, you wouldn't have an argument at all about Oklahoma. The only reason you got an argument about Oklahoma is because of the way they've played in the SEC, which is 5-12. But you swap those wins out right now, and Oklahoma would be 8-9 in conference, and they would be a no-brainer in the SEC, even with those pre-conference losses.
They've got 9 quality wins, Oklahoma does, but they've got 19 Q1 losses. And
they've got a lot more chances than everybody else.
But I know, but as a lot of people make the point is you play a lot of Q1 teams in the NCAA tournament. So do you need to be in there? Lance made this point last week. Okay, they've got a lot of wins, but they also have a lot of losses against teams that'll be in the NCAA tournament. So why do you belong in the NCAA tournament?
Well, and back to Dallin on the show yesterday, he talks about, last 10 should mean something. I mean, like, if you don't win a game, now, again, they beat Missouri and they did beat Mississippi State last week. So
that's 2 good wins.
That is 2 good wins, but then you've got on those 2 wins, you've got 7 losses. So you're 2-7 in your last 9.
Yeah, now Lunardi, he again hasn't updated it, but I think he'd have Oklahoma and Dayton. So you're in, but you're going to Dayton.
Yeah, you'll take that right now. It's better than being in the NIT. All right, now to last night's contest. Where Alabama got beat. We talked to Rece Davis in the first segment. Florida beat them. Nate Oates. Now, Alabama's lost. You just mentioned 2-7 in the last 9 for Oklahoma. Alabama has lost 4 of 6. 4 of 6. I'll say it again for those in the back. Alabama has lost 4 of 6 against great competition, but they've lost 4 of 6. Here's Nate Oates.
I don't want to use the word panic button, but how concerned are you about your team in this stretch? You've lost, 4 of your last 6.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be a tough stretch to close. I thought we'd do a little bit better. I thought we'd at least play with more effort. I'm more not panicked we're losing. It's more concerning how we lost. Getting out rebounded by 15 and just not getting the 50-50 balls. And I think Florida had more pop, more energy than us. That's concerning to me.
Okay, so more pop, more energy at times.
Well, 3 of those 4 losses, you've given up 94 plus.
Yeah.
The defense, that obviously is the concern. And then if you're not making your threes, when we were going off the show yesterday, you were like, what does Alabama need to do to win this game? And I was like, double-digit threes. They've got to make, 11, 12, 13 threes in order to win this game. They had 9. They were knocking at the door, but, my point was, you're going to have to score to beat Florida.
Yeah, I watched the game in person. It didn't seem like they hit 9.
I will be really surprised. Now, look, things dramatically change if you get a win in Neville on Saturday, and then you play for the championship next week in Nashville. But I'll be really surprised if they're on the 1 line.
Oh, Alabama? I think that left last night.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Florida actually is the team.
Oh, yeah.
When I leave that game last night, I'm like, how are we talking about Tennessee instead of Florida, especially once it followed up with Tennessee losing at Ole Miss?
Oh, I think your 1 seeds are almost locked now because we've talked about Auburn and Duke. I think Houston is going to be.
I agree.
And then I think Florida. Because they're whole. I think if you're part of the committee, you got to look at this team when they're whole.
Florida's split with Tennessee in the regular season. And Florida has road wins at Alabama and at Auburn.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you overlook them.
Now, I don't remember what Florida did out of conference.
They were great. Everybody in the SEC was great. Tyler, give me cut 6 now since we jumped ahead to Florida and Todd Golden. He was talking about this last night. They are a 1 seed. I was talking earlier, 5% by the ESPN predictor to win the national championship seems way low to me, but my predictors over-exaggerated. So they're a national championship contender, and Todd Golden sold his team on this last night.
Just an amazing win, obviously, going up against a fantastic team here at Alabama, a club that's been one of the best teams in college basketball for the last couple of years. Coach Oates has done an incredible job just getting this program to be a perennial top 10 team, and for us to be able to come in here and play with the lead for 27 minutes and not ever get behind in the second half was just a great effort for us. Obviously, these 2 guys sitting next to me had remarkable games. I thought Walter did a great job controlling the game, 8 assists, 1 turnover. 5 rebounds, 22 points, and just really kept us poised, making great decisions. And Kondo, obviously, had his best game as a Gator tonight. Just did a remarkable job finishing around the rim, hitting big threes in the first half, just playing with great physicality and effort, and setting the tone. 27-10, remarkable game for him. And I'm just incredibly proud of our guys. This is a big win. Obviously, both clubs competing for the last 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, and this was a big one for us.
And that's what makes it so them so dynamic, is because Walter Clayton Jr., with 8 assists last night, 1 turnover in that setting, and he's okay with distributing the basketball. And they've got 3 other guards that make them so deep and dynamic at the guard position. But then they're athletic and big underneath.
Dude, they pass so well, too.
Yeah. And Condon is Australian, by the way. And if this is the way a lot of the kids in Australia are size-wise, we should start importing these kids like we do punters.
Oh, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, St. Mary's has been doing it for years.
I'd sign me up. Let's go. Because Alex Condon is fun to watch. He's dynamic. And he career best, 27-10 last night for them. This team is so good.
Okay.
And look, and think what they've done now on the road. They got blown out at Knoxville, but they beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa, and they beat Auburn and Neville.
What I said. They did get blown out at Knoxville, but they split that. They beat Tennessee worse in Gainesville. I mean, they beat them by 30.
And they were undefeated in their non-conference schedule, but they really didn't have any. I mean, they had wins against name brands like Virginia and North Carolina, but really nothing of substance. Yeah. But doesn't matter based on what they've done in the SEC. Todd Golden, not even 40 years old. Have we ever seen a coach that, like, I think we all agreed, and this is just part of, an indictment on our society. When we heard the scandalous reports early on from the Alligator or whatever it was, I think we all agreed, man, like, he ain't going to survive this. Yep. Have we ever seen a coach go from the midst of a scandal like that to having maybe a championship-like year? And Florida's got a lot to do still, but, like, I would be blown away if they're not in the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, and they're going to be favored to, I mean, obviously if they're a 1 seed, they'll be favored to win the region.
No, sadly, I think most of the time, without great leadership that Scott Strickland showed in this situation.
They just immediately fire the guy, right?
That it's Chris Beard's situation where you're fired and then you come back later on and say maybe we shouldn't have fired the guy. So, hats off to Florida for being patient and riding out the storm of shows like ours, bringing that story up, and others saying.
But that story's dead. And a lot of that is the fact that they're playing well. I mean, if they were struggling, if they were, I don't want to say South Carolina, if they were even Oklahoma or Texas.
Well, they did the investigation and found no real evidence, according to the Florida folks. So I guess the story is dead because there's no evidence to back it up at this point. But that Florida team is national championship quality, and they beat Alabama doing a lot of things, including in some ways hustling last night. Nate Oates had said that his team quit last year at times. He didn't feel like that's happening yet, but LeBaron Feiline gets asked about the rebounding issues last night, which included they got out-rebounded by 19 second-chance points, so they got them on the offensive boards too. Here's LeBaron.
It's really about the small details, just boxing out and being able to have pop and just when the ball's off the rim, just go get it. And I think, they got more rebounds than us tonight, and it was obvious, they was beating us to every ball, so we just got to come back in and get better and be ready to work hard.
So I was sitting next to some Alabama fans at Odie's watching the game. Before the game started, they were like, what do you think about this total? It's 178.5. I was like, I sure as hell wouldn't play the under. I don't feel great about the over, but I would not play this under.
I played the under.
Did you?
No, I played the under, but you tell me.
41-40 at halftime. By the way, I thought Alabama, and I don't have the numbers. I know they were passing out the sheets in Coleman last night. I don't know what the rebound situation was at halftime. I don't know what the loose balls were. But Alabama defensively, I thought they had done what they needed to do in that first half.
But you take me, I think it's the under.
It's 3 minutes.
The under 8 timeout.
Second half or first half?
First half. Okay. Under 8 timeout in the first half. Yeah. I think you're trending to a game in the 70s at that point, because Alabama's defense wasn't bad the first 10 minutes.
No, but I told these guys at 41-40 halftime, I said, this thing has still got an outstanding shot of going over.
See, I didn't think so at that under 8 timeout, because I even looked to my media friends Johnny and Ryan down the way there, and I was like 21-20. That's 41. That's a long way from 178.5. And they laughed. Oh, did you bet the under? And I was like, yes, sir.
The under 8 was 27-23.
27-23.
I mean, I'm with you kind of there. That's
27-23.
Yeah.
And the way they were officiating the game, which I think benefited Alabama to some degree because they're not as physical, but they were letting you grab a little bit. I think we had 3 fouls each. I mean, how many times have you been under 8 with 3 fouls on Florida, 3 fouls on Alabama? It's usually a foul fest in a game like that.
But 81 points at halftime, you need 97 points to beat you in the second half.
That's
so,
right.
but you just had that feeling that the way this thing was going to play out, and then the way it did play out in the final 3-4 minutes.
I thought Alabama had improved on defense, but I mean, then you give up 99 at home.
I played the bite to get to this.
Okay,
stat.
do it.
Okay, since the Auburn loss, not even counting the Auburn loss, since the Auburn loss, my eyes tell me the defense has gotten better.
I agree with you.
Okay, so my eyes, your eyes, Lance, you thought the defense had gotten better?
I thought against Kentucky and Tennessee they played much better defense.
I thought, I mean, from where you were against Missouri, yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a very low bar, but
this counts the Missouri game because this is since the Auburn game.
Okay.
They are 79th in defensive efficiency since the Auburn loss.
That is from KenPom, or that's okay.
79th.
Since the Auburn loss.
Since the Auburn, not counting the Auburn loss. So that does include Missouri.
Yeah, that was a bad one. And it includes last night?
It includes last night.
So it's 110 and 99 in 2 games.
Yeah.
So
79th.
I guess what we're saying is they played it okay enough in 2 games and barely played it in 2 games.
Well, I feel like Missouri, 110 was their season high. I mean, 99 last night was Florida's second. I mean, they scored 100 against Kentucky.
In our post-game chat room, the most common comment last night was, I'm tired of hearing the phrase career high after an Alabama game.
It does happen a lot.
I mean, you got it with Condon.
Yeah, you got it with Condon. You got it with the kid up at Missouri,
Mark
right?
Mitchell.
Yeah. No, the other kid at Missouri. Didn't Grill? Didn't Grill have a career high?
Grill did too.
Alabama?
No, Grill had a career rebounds and high.
Yes.
But Mitchell did too.
Yeah. And that was several people in the chat room was last night. I don't want to hear career high after an Alabama game.
And look, I mean, it's in everybody, microwave society, knee jerk, but there is no way Alabama can win 6 games with this defense.
No, I agree.
You said the same. They couldn't win 6, but you would have said they couldn't win 4 last year with that defense.
I didn't know they would make it through the first round.
Right. Yeah. Look, I mean, they could go on and win the national championship, but it's hard to envision that.
That defense just catches up with you at some point.
It does, I mean, unless you play like you did at Tennessee. They
lost that game.
They did, but okay, for 39 minutes and 30 seconds.
At Tennessee.
Yeah, and you still against Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee makes bad defenses look better, right, with their style of offense.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah.
I mean, Tennessee's just not going to go out. I mean, I don't know who Tennessee could go out and score 90-plus points on.
Oh, that's a great question. They couldn't do it against Alabama. Now, I will say,
they needed 78 last night to win on the road at Ole Miss and couldn't get it, right?
I will say, based on KenPom, the strength of schedule based on how good the offenses you're playing are, right? Okay, so when you consider other teams' offensive efficiencies.
For instance, Florida and Auburn's offenses are really good, and Alabama's played their defense against really good offenses.
So based on the quality of offense you're playing, Alabama's is the toughest strength schedule in the country, based on KenPom.
Yeah, now that's not because Alabama's defense is bad.
Well, that's only 1 game out of 30 games,
right?
Yeah, or maybe 2 if Alabama's played them twice. But the offense, the quality of offense Alabama is playing this year is tougher than anybody's in the country. Now that doesn't excuse everything, because where is Tennessee's? Tennessee's is 3rd.
Yeah.
So Tennessee still plays really good defense. They're facing the 3rd most difficult. Auburn's is 2nd. Auburn plays good defense. There's the 2nd most difficult, right?
Yeah. Common thread
going on
here.
All SEC. Kentucky's, I'll just keep going. Kentucky's is 4th. Texas A&M's is 5th. Mississippi State's is 7th. South Carolina's is 8th. Arkansas's is 9th.
Yeah. So
a lot of SEC teams in your top 10.
Yeah. That's what you're going to get, right? That's what you get in this league.
Hey, where is Todd Golden on y'all's list, though, of coaches?
Of what?
You know, I mentioned that to Rece, like Chris Beard.
Oh, when you factor in the age and everything.
Yeah, like if you're starting a program right now, like a lot of people would say Nate Oates, but you really start to look at Todd Golden, who's only 39 years old, and you look at his 3 years, you know, NIT, That incredible game that got overshadowed last year because they were playing at the exact same time that Yale beat Auburn.
Yeah.
But remember, they lost to Colorado in overtime, like 102 to 100.
Yep.
So you go from that 24 wins last year, you've already got 24 wins this year, and it should be much better. So this, I mean, he has truly built this from the ground.
Yeah, no, and that's impressive. That's impressive.
So I don't know where I would have him.
I mean, he would be in the conversation at the top.
If I'm many freaking good coaches in this league.
If I'm Indiana, and I don't think these guys I'm not sure any of the three would take it, but Beard, Golden, or Oates, if I could get any three of those, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Now, I don't know that you could get any three of them, any of the three, if you're Indiana, because I look at a lot of those situations, I'm like, why would you leave that for Indiana? What has Indiana done that you haven't done?
Well, but now do North Carolina, and why are you holding on to Hubert Davis?
Well, exactly. If I'm North Carolina, I'd ask the same three guys, and again,
and if one of them said yes, I would
but
go
don't
shake the hand of my former player.
Thanks, Hubert.
Don't discount this. Florida and Scott Strickland giving him an opportunity from San Francisco to take this job. Don't discount his relationship with Bruce Pearl. Hey, North Carolina's offering this. What do you think? There's something about what you're building and where you are at the moment. And like Florida, Florida can pay as much as North Carolina. They just can't.
And by the way, if you're North Carolina, you thought, fine, Coach K's done. We can excel. No. This guy hadn't let it fall off much. I don't know if you've noticed.
That Shar kid's pretty young, too.
Yeah, he's young, and he has not let that product fall off very much. They're still pretty good.
I did question it for a minute, though.
Oh, I did too, Lance, and I think anybody would have. But he's already had an Elite Eight. He's got...
You know what helps? When you get a guy like Cooper Flagg.
Doesn't hurt. He's probably got the number 2 overall seed right now. That guy's still pretty good.
That's part of it, though, is recruiting,
That's right. It's part of being a head coach.
Okay, way behind about telling you some of our sponsors here. One of them is our friends at Hemp Hill. They bring you the lock every day. Were you on the right side last night, Florida, Alabama?
I ended up not playing it, but big play was Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
Boomer Sooner.
What a call
Did
there.
have a winning night last night. Jump on board. Free winner up and available right now. We've got day basketball with a lot of conference tournaments going on. 12 plays up, 2 in the NBA, 10 in the college hoops. Jump on board, win with us. Lance's Lock, always brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
And, of course, our friends right there at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. If you want to drop some weight here as summer approaches, easy way to do it. Or at least a way that they can lay out to make it easier for you. Nothing's easy in life, right? But Way to Wellness can help you with a planforme.com. A planforme.com, no contracts, no sign-up fees, and the first consultation is free, so no out-of-pocket money to learn what Leslie and her board-certified team has for you right there. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. They've got the injection therapies, they've got the meal replacement, and they've got, protein bars and some other ways to help you out. It's our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. And also, it's time for our viewing menu today, brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision.
205-969-8100. Make that call today. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. They're going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation, 0 to lose, to find out if LASIK is right for you. I got the procedure done over 2 decades ago. Still have 20/15 vision, better than 20/20. 205-969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
All right, there's a lot of movies coming to theaters this weekend.
Oh,
a
wow.
total of 8, so I'm going to have to pace myself this weekend.
You'll try to see them all?
I'll try and see at least 5 or 6.
Wait, so what do you
2
think?
2 Friday, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday?
Yeah.
What do you think the most you've ever seen in a weekend?
Probably 5 or 6.
So when you escape the theater, do you watch movies at home too?
No, I haven't really been watching a whole lot of movies at home, except for the stuff that me and Tim have been picking up at stores, the different Blu-rays and 4K releases.
So basically, at the AMC, basically they're Alabama's defense to you right now. It's going to be a career high this weekend. You're going to walk in and try to do 6 this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's out there?
So tonight I will be seeing Mickey 17. It's directed by Bong Joon-ho, who also directed Parasite, which won Best Picture a couple years ago, and he also did Snowpiercer. And this is about...
And both of those movies, fantastic. Parasite's a borderline top 10 for me.
It's fantastic. I've got the Criterion collection of Parasite that's got a bunch of special commentary and stuff like that. This has Robert Pattinson in it, and he plays a disposable employee who's been sent to the ice colony Niflheim to just work on it and do research. And every time he dies, his body is regenerated, and he goes through it every day.
I saw the previews.
You know, how difficult...
So it's like 50 first dates, basically.
Is that language barrier? Because obviously Parasite was all subtitled and all South Korean actors. But can you imagine, like, coming up, being this creative, being able to write, direct, have the interaction with these actors? I mean, it's pretty incredible what he does.
Yeah, he's incredibly talented. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets nominated for Best Director for this film. We've also got a new horror movie with John Lithgow called The Rule of Jenny Penn.
This thing sounds so creepy.
Yeah. Recovering from a stroke at an assisted living facility, a judge encounters a psychopathic patient who uses a hand puppet to abuse fellow residents.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Hey, and they said it's darker than it seems.
Darker. Wow. I mean, that just the description sounds dark.
And Lithgow can play dark.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's very talented. He was in Conclave last year, and I really like him in Rise of the Planet of the Apes as well.
Well, you know, I wasn't a Dexter fan, but he played a serial killer well.
Mm-hmm. The Trinity Killer, I think he was called. I'm not sure, though. Also, if you don't want to go anywhere tonight, you can tune on BBC America at 7 p.m., see one of Tim Melton's favorite movies, The Great Outdoors with John Candy and Dan Aykroyd.
Feel-good movie.
Yeah, very good.
You can go at 6 p.m. to the Vice channel and watch one of my favorite movies of all time, The Goonies.
Oh,
another great one.
That's what Tyler's watching tonight and this weekend. You can go catch some of that, brought to you by our friends at Michelson.
205-969-8100. Again, for more information, MichelsonLaserVision.com.
All right, when we come back, we'll hear from Ryann Grubb on Alabama's offense, what the new OC said yesterday after Alabama's second practice. More basketball later. Clint Lamb joins us from Cover Crimson. He'll join us at 11 o'clock to talk Alabama football as well. And we'll squeeze in some NFL. Crazy day yesterday that actually put the Bosa. Bosa is available out there for the picking. That's all coming up right here in the next round, being brought to you today by our wonderful friends at Kodar Productions. We got a great concert coming to town down at Iron City.
It is Brother King.
Almost said Iron City, Alabama. Iron City.
I don't know if there is an Iron City, Alabama. That would be a great name for a place in Alabama. Brother Kane, one night only, Saturday, March 15th at Iron City. Birmingham's own Brother Kane with special guest Cage Willis and Miles Morgan. Saturday, March 15th. Tickets available now. IronCityBham.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1, find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2, stream it now. Miss Hour 3, download it for later. Miss Hour 4, well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, as we roll into our second hour of the show here, I'll remind you that we are going to get to some football and Ryann Grubb in this segment. Tyler has our 4 downs still to come in this hour, and Clint Lamb still to come on the show. Next Friday, 1 week from tomorrow, we're in Nashville. We're at Losers, just off of Broadway up there. Looking forward to that broadcast. One of my favorite road shows 2 years ago. Didn't do it last year. We're back up there 2 years later to be back up there on day 1 of the SEC tournament. And that locked in to double byes last night with Missouri's loss. Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, and Auburn have the double byes. So it'll be game day for Auburn, which will have the first game locked in as the 1 seed at 12 noon. And then Alabama likely heading towards a 4 seed when it's all said and done, unless they're able to beat Auburn this weekend.
So if they beat Auburn, it's a lock the 3, right?
If Tennessee beats if they beat Auburn, they're locked in at the 3.
That's right. And which would then... No, I think that's right.
Where's Florida?
Yeah, Florida's locked in at 2.
Yeah, Florida's locked in at 2
Yeah,
now.
well, because, even if they lose and Bama wins, they're both 13-5, but you got the head-to-head.
So they got the tiebreaker now, yeah. So Alabama can do a 3 or 4.
That's
Tennessee
right.
can be a 3 or 4.
Yeah, if Alabama is a 3, the only point I was going to make is you've got Bama and Auburn Saturday in Auburn. If they both win Friday, you would have a rematch again one Saturday later in Nashville.
If there are 4, right? 1 and 4 would play on Saturday.
Yeah.
2 and 3.
I'm sorry. Did I say 3? I meant 4. I apologize.
So, the possibility of a very quick turnaround. Long way to go to that. But we're next week at Losers up there. So come see us. That is just off of Broadway. Throw it in your GPS. It's an easy walk to Bridgestone there. And we'll be there 9 to 12. Or 10 to 1.
Yeah, or 10 to 12.
Or 10 to 12.
It is brought to you by our friends at Kickin' It Coolers, too. We're going to have some of their great products, as we did a couple of years ago. New flavors, new design, all that kind of stuff. Our friend Richard Holland is going to be up there with us, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, so it should be a lot of fun up there. Now, Lunardi, after we cursed him in the first hour for not putting out new bracketology, has put out new bracketology now. I just really believe you should do it.
I'd have it done at midnight.
I'd do it at the end of every night.
Yes.
And I'd do another one to start the day, just in case something has changed.
It is one of the more baffling things. That is what he is known for.
It's like the later in the season we go, the less he does.
But he does it more now than he used to in the radio days.
I know.
It would be like once a week. We'd be like, what are we waiting on?
Yeah. You should take it over, Jim.
Jimmy
No,
Brackets.
I don't know if you know this. My predictor is a little bigger than his. And you can't spell predictor without
Yeah,
ego.
that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Auburn is still your overall 1, according to Lunardi. Duke, your overall 2. Houston at 3. He moves Florida into 4, like we discussed.
I mean, what? You had no choice.
I agree with you. Tennessee drops to 5 after their loss, so they're a 2 seed after their loss to Ole Miss, according to Lunardi. Alabama at 6. Texas Tech 8. Michigan State 7. Texas Tech 8.
Yep.
He only has 12 SEC teams, so he did not go full 13.
Alabama could drop, and his full 14 is in discussion now.
Yep.
Alabama can't drop off the 2 line, I do not believe.
I don't know that they would drop at all based on Saturday's outcome. I mean, you're playing the overall number 1.
No, you're talking about from 6.
Yeah, from 6. Yeah,
I'm just saying that before we even get to Saturday, Michigan State could wrap up the Big Ten regular season tonight with a road win at Iowa that could bump them at some point over Alabama. But I feel confident Alabama can't play their way, even if they lose at Auburn and first game on Friday at the SEC tournament against a quality team. Hard to imagine them being a 3 seed. So I think they're locked in, and can't imagine them being a 1 anymore. So I think they're locked in as a 2.
I think they're locked in as a 2. What is interesting is I don't think there's any way they will put an SEC team as a 2 seed in Auburn or Florida's bracket. Do you?
I don't know that. We were
I
talking.
don't know.
I'm not saying by rule.
I
I'm
wouldn't
just saying.
think. I wouldn't think.
Over coffee today, Forrester and I were talking about what a big slap in the face it would be if you throw one of the 2s in just one of them into the same region as one of the 2 SEC ones.
Yeah.
So then at that point you're daring the SEC to eliminate itself at that point.
Yeah.
And
So-
there's going to be some of that in the tournament anyway.
Yeah. So that limits where Alabama and Tennessee could eventually slip because you're not likely to put them in that same one as Auburn.
Yeah. Alabama in the Midwest would be great. But see, you're going on an S curve, supposedly.
Right.
Okay. So by definition, Texas Tech should be in Auburn, Michigan State should be in Duke, and then Alabama should be in Houston, and Tennessee should be in Florida.
Yeah. But see, I just don't think they're going to do that. Of course, you can adjust the S curve and say, no, that's exactly where we had them. It just happened to fall that way.
Yeah.
We didn't move it because they were 2 SEC teams.
Yeah.
Last 4 by Georgia and Arkansas, by the way, out of Dayton, according to Joe Lunardi. Oklahoma's still first 4 out. We had them in the tournament last hour. Joe Lunardi did not let that win over Missouri put them in the tournament last night. He's still got Oklahoma first 4 out, and Texas. I don't know if in Lunardi's mind that Oklahoma-Texas game is for a spot in the tournament.
Probably.
I mean, Oklahoma beat Missouri, didn't get them there.
Yeah.
I would say if you look at the net, Oklahoma doesn't show up well in the net. And the committee uses that. They show up better in KenPom than they do in the net. At least they did yesterday going into the thing. They are
Oklahoma's 50th in the net, up 3 spots.
Yeah. It's not great.
Not great. 4-10 in quad 1.
So that's struggling. 12 SEC right now. Oklahoma and Texas are the other 2 in play there.
So I guess Georgia and Arkansas could technically play the way out too, right?
With 1 game left before you get to the tournament, no. But as everyone keeps saying, that first full day at the SEC tournament in Nashville could be full of bubblicious stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, to football we go after we tell you about our great friends at Johnston RV Center. They love football season. A lot of you love Johnston RV to get those tailgates taken to a new level with a new pull along or a new RV from our friends at Johnston RV.
Yeah, spring and summer coming up, so go see America this spring and summer in an RV from Johnston RV Center. Whatever your price range, listen, they've got vehicles as low as $129 a month with approved credit. I mean, so price range, they can cover you. Anything from a tow behind to a toy hauler to a fifth wheel to a motorhome, all right there at Johnston RV Center. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, and you can always find everything about Johnston RV Center online, johnstonrvcenter.com.
Ryann Grubb talks to the Alabama media yesterday, including our Emily Grace McWhorter, who was there in the group talking with Alabama's new offensive coordinator. And you start the conversation with, hey, man, twice Alabama tried to get you here. Kalen DeBoer last year, but first it was Nick Saban going into his final year. What's up with that, man? Why now and not then?
Third time's a charm, right? I think there's a lot of factors. Obviously, I felt like there's a lot of things already in place here. Hats off to the staff they did a lot of heavy lifting this last year, just implementing a lot of things that are within the system offensively. So being able to come in here and get some things off the ground that guys have already seen, I felt like, I could be an addition to, not necessarily like we have to, totally uproot everything that's going on. Certainly there's some things that I do that are different and just like everybody, but it just felt like there's a lot of groundwork laid that, we should have a good opportunity for success.
And he talked about, Nick Saban asked him to come, and it was one of the hardest things he's ever done to turn down, but he was very open about it. He said, I had a good relationship with Michael Penix, and our receiving room was really good. I felt like if I walked away from them, that I was leaving behind a team that could do something special. And it turns out they were basically a few plays away from winning a national championship. So he passed on going to Tuscaloosa the first time with Nick Saban, which he said was intriguing. But because of the players and the team he had at Washington, he stayed back. I think that was a good call by him.
Well, look, and I think, you can grow, and I don't want to call it a failure going to Seattle because, it's a team that won 10 games, but, there was some miscommunication there with Mike McDonald, a first-year head coach, and Ryann Grubb. But, it's probably a growing learning experience for him to, have that, I guess, what is deemed an off year, maybe resets everything, and now he comes back to what he really knows.
And you don't know, like, having coached a professional offense for a year, what has opened your eyes to some new things? I mean, just because it was deemed a failure doesn't mean it has to permanently be a failure for you if you're Ryann Grubb, right? Did you want it to go better? Sure you did. But what did you learn from that will make you a better offensive coordinator on the collegiate level? And there's got to be some things, right? Just seeing – the way things are approached on the professional level, how does that translate down to the college level to make you a better football coach and Alabama a better football team?
Ryann Grubb then was asked about the quarterbacks that he's inheriting so far. As you see him working on the headset with the quarterbacks at practice and getting the new offense already installed, is just will be called a little different with his seasoned background. He talks about what he's seen from the three quarterbacks that's in a battle. If you heard Rece Davis in our first segment, Austin Mack's very much in play.
A lot of things. I think that they each, just like any quarterback, have their own individual, strengths and weaknesses. And I think, Ty has done a good job. I thought he had the biggest jump from day one to day two, just as far as like being able to take in all the information, process quickly and move. Austin's done a really good job of showing command for a young player. And then Keelan is awesome, man. He's very unflappable. And, even when things don't go right, and they invariably will for a freshman quarterback, I think he's done an awesome job of just kind of staying the course and being very steady. So, and he can make a lot of plays.
Do you have the soundbite where he talks about his vision? I don't want to step on that.
I've got one more.
There's a comparison he makes about Keelan Russell.
I don't know. Let me do one more.
Do that one. We'll come back to it.
Ryann Grubb on his relationship with Nick Sheridan, who will be coaching quarterbacks. And, Sheridan called the plays last year. They've worked together before. So if you're the OC and Sheridan's coaching the quarterbacks, where are you going to be standing? And Ryann Grubb gives this answer.
I always think it's got to start with the quarterback room. You got to have if I don't have a relationship with the guy that's throwing the ball or in the huddle on Saturdays, I think that, I'd be putting Alabama at a disadvantage. So I always got to be on the same page with those guys in sync. Nick being here obviously is a huge advantage to me just because it gives me the flexibility to be in the rooms that I need to be in and talk to the people I got to talk to. And so I think that part for me has been it's been awesome already. That way if another position group or coach needs help, I can move myself into that room and try to utilize my skills with the offense somewhere else. But, most of the time it's always going to be with the quarterbacks. I just think that relationship is key.
So the quarterback's getting double coaching this year, Nick Sheridan and Ryann Grubb.
Hey, and you heard Rece Davis bring up Austin Mack.
I know.
When we kind of talked about this yesterday, we were like, don't sleep on any of these three. I think there's a path for all three becoming the starting quarterback.
But I would think in most Alabama fans' mind, it would be either Ty Simpson or Keelan Russell, the big 5-star recruit. I think a lot of people wrote Austin Mack off last year because you never saw him really come into the game at any. It was always Ty Simpson next and then Austin Mack. So just by that, you think to yourself. But when you hear Rece, listen, I don't know why Rece would say something like that, but I do know that when you're at game day and you spend a lot of time around coaches, that you hear a lot of things that you don't report. And I would imagine Rece has heard some positive things from Kalen DeBoer or Nick Sheridan's mouth about Austin Mack.
I think a lot of the fans, though, just looked at Austin Mack as a transfer out of comfort more than anything, right? You didn't go get him away from USC. You brought him with you, and I think a lot of fans felt like, well, that's a security blanket. That's a safety policy just in case. We know this kid. If he ever has to play, we know what we're dealing with. And that's unfair to Austin Mack. I mean,
you can't discount the relationship with Ryann Grubb, though. And I think that it probably rejuvenates Austin Mack knowing that, like, he literally is in the mix now.
Oh, yeah, I think 100%.
Yeah, I mean, Grubb's going to come in with Kalen DeBoer, and this year 2 is, I don't want to call it pivotal, very important, obviously. But they are going to play the best quarterback that fits their system.
But to your point, Austin Mack, with Ryann Grubb as the OC, went through that system an entire year. And then last year, he wasn't going to unseat Jalen Milroe, so he had another year of that system. So he's been in the system 2 full years.
Well, and I think he is viewed as the guy, and we're watching Scott's showing footage of him from practice, but he is viewed as the guy that can really, really unleash it and hit them downfield. I think, Ty definitely more athletic, but I don't know if Ty is viewed as that guy that is kind of a home run guy.
And then there's Keelan Russell.
Yeah,
the true freshman.
Five-star do everything quarterback.
Who a lot of people are going to be pulling for him to be the guy.
I mean, you always love the true freshman with upside, right? Everybody does. Grubb was asked about him, and he says, and this is a quote, "One of the things I noticed, think about Jake Haener way back to Fresno State. He's at the Saints now. He got really whippy quick. He's got a really whippy quick release. Once he made his decision, he was very decisive with the ball. I see that with Key a lot. He's not finished comparing him to NFL quarterbacks. Keelan's vision reminds me of Michael Penix a little bit. He has a good wide vision on the field and can even see when it doesn't know exactly what's going on, so he's still working through all the processes." I mean, Ryann Grubb has coached 2 NFL quarterbacks recently, and he found comparisons in both of those guys for Keelan Russell. So that is, he's obviously made quite an impression in just a couple spring practices for Ryann Grubb as well.
So that's Ryann Grubb yesterday talking to the media for the first time after being on the field with the players with his new offensive coordinator. Same offense as last year. You won't see a lot of difference in schemes or anything, but maybe a little more seasoned play caller in Ryann Grubb as he takes over that offense. Alabama fans really excited about that. We get to Tyler's 4 Downs, brought to you today by our friends at ImageCraft. A lot of Tyler's 4 Downs written on a piece of paper, but maybe one day he'll start printing those things up and start, selling them, in mystery boxes.
I got Tyler's 4 Downs in my mystery box today, and it's not water damaged. ImageCraft, you print more, you spend less with ImageCraft. They specialize in low-cost printer and copier supplies. They carry all the major brands: HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, Xerox. They are your go-to for ink and toner supplies. Free same-day delivery on all in-stock items. The Birmingham Metro. Free shipping outside the area. You can see them in person right there on Gadsden Highway in Trussville near the Pinnacle Shopping Center, where you can start saving today with code TNR for 10% off. Just tell them you heard it on the next round. When you go in, you'll get 10% off your order. Or go online to imagecraft.net. That is imagecraft.net. And shop with coupon code TNR10. Print more, spend less with ImageCraft.
First down.
If you could only eat one kind of potato chip for the rest of your life, what would it be?
As a kid, it would have been the Golden Flake Hot. Not the Sweet Heat.
I like the Sweet Heat more.
Sweet Heat's good, but I loved the Hot as a kid. Now, and I do think Zaps are kind of controversial for whatever reason.
Why?
Some people don't like them.
I love the Voodoo chips.
I was going to go Voodoo.
The kettle cooked, I'm not a huge fan of.
Because they're too crunchy?
Yep, too thick and crunchy.
I don't think there is a such thing as too crunchy.
I know, and so I would go the Miss Vicky's jalapeno or the Voodoo from the Zaps.
I love the Voodoo.
Do you like jalapeno chips?
I don't like. There's the one you named, Miss Vicky's jalapeno it hits me with it. I don't know it has a little garlic in it. Garlic hits me the wrong way for some reason.
You a vampire now?
Maybe. It may be. I don't sleep a lot. I love the voodoo. But if I got to go a traditional chip, and actually had a friend eating these last night, and they give you breath. But I love the Lay's sour cream and onion.
Oh wow,
yeah. But
that is old school.
Yeah.
You know what's become kind of, and I think it's a thing now because like Jack and all his buddies crush Pringles.
Yeah, my little kid likes Pringles.
That's
too.
what
My
they
little
want is Pringles.
Allie.
So I don't know if that's like a young thing now. Do you eat Pringles?
I used to when I was younger. They had like all the different flavors. I would get like the honey barbecue and the pizza flavor. And
There's one consistency with Pringles. It's the film it leaves on your mouth.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Something
So
on top.
weird.
And I
You
don't
think
know.
it's from that plastic top?
I do.
probably
I do
the
think
chemicals.
somehow they're. I don't know. They just don't taste like a chip to me. It's.
I like them, but again, that weird aftertaste.
I think they were invented when I was in middle school. I don't
It
know
was
what
a
year
great
they came out.
invention.
I don't know what year the original Pringle came out,
It
but I feel like
it was
new.
mid 70s, I would say.
Jeremy says pop chips are legit. The barbecue pop chips are
You
fantastic.
can't find them. Like I haven't seen pop chips. It's one of the things.
Oh.
Like once a week, I'll buy a couple of bags of chips at a grocery store. I never see pop chips.
I got them
but
out
they
near
are
me.
great.
I can get them.
Okay.
I can get them for you.
Is that the
It's
same
gonna
as
be,
those?
it's gonna be
big?
It's gonna be It's gonna be. I'm gonna mark them up though if I got to bring them to you.
Is that the same as those popcorners?
No, different thing.
No,
I
these
do
are
like
these,
popcorners.
these are like full of air, but the flavors
They're
are
so
incredible.
good.
Oh, God.
I don't like those, but I'm willing to try them again because it's been a while. The pop chip
Go-
to see if I like them. And Brown is Brown putting a tariff on the chips?
I am. Yes. If
From-
I have to bring them up here to Lance, it's going to require a tariff.
And
Lance can get rid of that tariff.
One of our team names had tariff in it.
Oh,
last
I
night.
bet. I do like the Sweet Heat from Golden Flake we talked about, but Mike's Hot Honey Barbecue from Utz are fantastic.
Okay, I haven't had those.
Oh, they're so
I
good.
like Sun Chips. I like the
I do
Harvest
too.
Cheddar, and I like the salsa.
Yeah, I like the Harvest Cheddar Sun
Yeah,
Chips.
garden
too.
salsa.
Yeah.
I don't like either one of those. I do like the
And they're
Mike's hot
crunchy.
honey.
Yeah.
They are crunchy. I just don't like them. I did a diet one time where that was.
It seems
That
like
was
it's a
one of my-
healthy chip. I really don't know how healthy it is.
I don't
Yeah.
think any chip's healthy.
That was my healthy chip with some Subway one time, and I don't remember those years.
I think Sun Chips has sold you on the fact it's healthy, so you don't feel as
They
bad
put
about it.
sun in there.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, the
okay. These
sun.
are grown in the sun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
okay.
Second down.
The Big Lebowski released 27 years ago today. What's your favorite John Goodman role?
So mine is Argo.
I was going to say that's so good in it.
But
Yeah.
there's two that I haven't seen. You've probably seen them. Barton Fink, and I'm a Coen Brothers guy. I heard he's great in that. And then the Cloverfield Lane, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
I haven't seen that one either.
I heard he's incredible in that. So I want to see both those are my cue. But I thought Argo was really, really good. And I thought he was, great in Argo.
He
as
and
well.
Alan Arkin in Argo, just the back and forth between those two and the part they played was spectacular in that movie.
Did
So
you
I would
guys
go
see
with John
Flight?
I did
I'm
not.
not.
I thought he was a little too over the top as the drug dealer, Denzel's buddy in Flight. But, he is he's had a hell of a career.
He had a one-season run as the House Speaker on West Wing, and because of the episode of what was going on that year, they got caught in between having a vice president and had to come over and, for a moment, be president. And had a really good role there.
Was he a good president?
Actually, this was before President Trump was ever on the radar national scene. He had some Trump-like qualities of speaking not with a lot of protocol, but speaking his truth and being very firm on his stance with America. So he didn't take any BS from any foreign entities during that time on the show. So it was I thought he played it really well.
Do you guys remember him as the coach in Revenge of the Nerds?
I don't.
Yeah, he was the football coach. He was a skinnier.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
Because remember they got the icy hot on the jock straps?
Yeah.
And he was in Monsters, Inc.
Well,
Oh, that's
boys.
right. Yep.
He was Sully.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if he made his most money as Sully.
I would not be surprised either.
Third down.
He does have one of those voices that you probably could go over to Japan or somewhere and hear him doing commercials.
Did you ever watch Trimmy on HBO? It was just based in the quarter New Orleans, and it was like intertwined cast of characters, but he was in that. He's a big Louisiana guy.
I never watched that.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, third down is Lethal Weapon, released 38 years ago today. What's the best action movie franchise?
Lethal Weapon, claim to fame there. Lethal Weapon 2, Patsy Kensit. That was a first-round selection,
Oh,
one
yeah.
line back in the
Yeah.
day. I would say John Wick for me, and I can't wait to see Ballerina when it comes out.
Same
I don't
here.
know. I'm sure you've seen the trailer. It's dumb for me to even ask, but before becoming Zeppelin, they showed the trailer, and man, it's just one of those moments when he comes in at the end of the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's so much action. It's so unbelievable, but how they choreograph it, how stylish it is. John Wick is just, and it makes you absolutely love Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah. This one's a different team, but I'm hoping they can still do a good job.
Well, if he signed up, I feel pretty good about it.
I know
That's
I'm
true.
very mid, but I enjoyed the Bourne when they,
I love
when they were
those.
out.
Yeah, that's
those
not
are
bad
good.
at all.
I got camera, the
Lance,
shaky
no way
camera.
Lance can
I
watch
watched
them.
the first one. I was like, I am out.
Their fight scenes.
Oh, the fight scenes,
They would put you on the floor.
the foot chase.
Yeah. No, I love the Bourne series. I don't know. I confuse which one I'm watching.
Yeah.
But I think the whole series is absolutely fantastic. I'll tell you one I'm told I would like, and I've just never stopped to watch it, is the Mission Impossible series with Tom
Me
Cruise.
too. I watched the
enjoyed
first
those.
one. I've seen the trailer for I guess it's going to be the last one.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the last one. I've only seen the fourth one.
Wow. Just plugged right in the
I'm
middle.
just going to watch random middle.
Did I dream this, or did he want to do one in space where he did a spacewalk?
I want to say that's something that
Oh,
Tom
I'm
Cruise has said before.
I'm
I
sure.
would be shocked.
You know, so the first time I saw the trailer was, I guess all of us did the Super Bowl, but he finally looks like he's aging a little bit. Finally.
Yes.
So I saw a trailer, and I don't even know the name of the movie, but I did not recognize the actor at first because he's letting himself look old in the movie. Pierce Brosnan. Have you seen that trailer for the new movie he's in? It's him. It's a Guy Ritchie film, so it's him and he's in all the Guy Ritchie films. The guy that walks around
Jason
and grunts.
Statham?
No, the guy that walks around and grunts. Why can I not say his name?
Tom Hardy?
Tom Hardy. He's in all the Guy Ritchie movies. And Pierce Brosnan looks 1,000 in that movie. Like, I did not
what's
recognize
the name of the
Hardy's
movie?
Bane all the time.
Yeah.
Have you guys, are y'all watching
guy who
1923? Like, I didn't like Yellowstone. I didn't like the 18 whatever.
Yeah.
But 1923 is pretty good with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
But Timothy Dalton is in 1923. He's one of the bad guys. Timothy Dalton looks so freaking old.
Yeah. What's the name of that movie, Brown? Is it Hungover as Hell? That would make you look old.
Mobland. Mobland is the name of the movie. If you want to Google Pierce Brosnan Mobland, Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan in a Guy Ritchie movie. I did not recognize Pierce Brosnan. And Helen Mirren's in it
Guy
as well.
Ritchie with The Covenant and then with The Gentleman has come back a little bit. Like Snatch.
I liked The Gentleman.
Lock, Stock, and Three Smoking Barrels, Two Smoking Barrels, whatever it was. Those were fantastic back in the day.
I mean, look how old Pierce Brosnan is in this movie.
Well, I mean, I bet Pierce Brosnan's 75 years old.
I mean, he's that old in real life, Brown.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. He's no makeup or anything. Would you have recognized him at first glance, though?
I would not have.
No.
He
No.
almost looked like if they aged up like Chris Pine or somebody.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going 75.
Pierce Brosnan?
If you'd have told me that was the judge in Peaky Blinders, that wouldn't surprise me.
I'd buy that.
Yeah.
He will be 72 in May.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Fourth down.
Fourth down is happy birthday to Shaq. He turns 53 today. Who had the better career, Shaq or Tom Brady? They're relatively the same amount in net worth.
Yeah.
Shaq's had all his endorsement deals.
It's actually
Brady has more rings.
It's
Brady's
actually a
more
pretty
rings.
good question.
It is.
But, immediately people are going to say Brady. But we've never seen anybody do what Shaquille O'Neal has done at his size. Not that the athleticism doesn't necessarily make the career better, but you talked about it. I mean, what he's been able to do post-playing.
His post-career has been remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, the only one better has been Barkley. Barkley doesn't invest like Shaq does.
I don't think so. I've mentioned it before. I saw a 60 Minutes piece on Shaq. We always talk about 60 Minutes when we accidentally leave the TV on CBS after the golf or basketball or the NFL, and we happen to see 60 Minutes.
It's funny, in our house, we set time aside to watch it.
You seek it out. Yeah. Highbrow. But Shaq doesn't necessarily just take endorsement deals. He tries to get a cut of every company he endorses.
That's true.
Yeah.
To which it's paid off really well because I think he had a cut in Ring and they sold for a bunch, if I'm not mistaken. He's got a cut, I think, in the General.
Oh, he 100% does.
As goofy as those commercials are, he's got a cut of the action.
Peyton, we talked about Peyton Manning the other day, Papa John's.
Yeah.
He's definitely got a cut in
Shaq
that.
has followed that pattern, and it has worked very well for him.
Yeah.
He's got his own pizza there. The
It's not
Shaq-a-roni.
hostile takeovers, but I think he's pretty adamant that he gets part of the company.
Yeah, if I'm going to endorse you, I want to own part of the company.
Definitely the more recognizable guy.
Is Shaq.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, Brady's pretty
Oh,
recognizable.
no.
too.
Like, they both walk through the airport, though. Like, who gets more attention?
But Shaq is.
Well, you can see Shaq from further away.
Shaq is I didn't think I'd ever say this, a better broadcaster.
Oh, he is.
I would agree 100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's on a better show.
Yeah, and if Rockstar was here right now, he would do a Shaq impersonation where we wouldn't understand what he was saying, and that's the way Shaq was when he started on the show with Barkley. But he has turned into a very good contribution.
Yeah,
to the show.
I could not stand him when he first was on
Me
there.
too.
And I loved
Me
Shaq,
too.
but I remember having conversations with Barkley, and I'm like, why would they put another alpha personality in there? They don't need it. Like,
Boy, it
you,
works,
Kenny,
though.
and Ernie,
Now-
but it
now
does now.
But now
I
it's
know.
good. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought it was overdone, but it works.
Yeah. I thought I was like, God, you're going to take time away from Kenny and Barkley.
Yeah.
And now it works.
But the bigger impact guy from day one, from 17 to where he is right now, is Shaquille O'Neal.
I would
From
agree.
day one, yeah. But once Shaq's at where he became just a big man, he couldn't run the floor like he could with the Magic. Brady was better from that point forward. He won 7 Super Bowls.
He did, but obviously this sounds so bad because it's the most difficult position in all of sports. But there is something that allows you to play at that level at 40. Not for a lot of guys, but to me, it would be easier than Shaquille's 320-pound body being able to do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, LeBron is doing exactly what Tom Brady was doing at 40 now.
But when he first came in with the Magic and led them to the finals, he could run the floor.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Like LeBron does.
But see, like, we talk about when we did the Mark Sears conversation where he ranks in Alabama lore, I would think the good majority of our listeners and viewers never saw Skinny Shaq. Skinny Shaq at LSU in Orlando.
Oh, that's right.
The guy was, and he was one of the faster guys on the court.
Yeah, that's right. That's our viewing menu today. Excuse me, that's our four downs today. Tell us about our friends at ImageCraft. Right?
ImageCraft.net. Print more, spin less. Start at ImageCraft.net.
All right. When we come back to last night's basketball and more from Nate Oates. Also, we'll check in on Bill Belichick. That's right, Bill Belichick on the practice field at North Carolina. That's coming up, in Clint Lamb from Tuscaloosa. The next round continues on the other side, being brought to you today by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Back in a moment.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com. The latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. That's nextroundlive.com.
Think about the best summer nights of your life. How many of those were in a great t-shirt? Visit nextround.store to get the perfect t-shirt for the next perfect Southern night. Nextround.store. The memories are waiting.
As we all know, there's no off-season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Alabama, join us over on covercrimson.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on covercrimson.com.
If you are a business that does a lot of printing, like a car dealership, mortgage company, real estate office, tax office, bank, school, or university, print more and spend less with ImageCraft. ImageCraft is located at 1151 Gadsden Highway in Trussville, just down from the Pinnacle Shopping Center, and online at imagecraft.net. They carry all the major brands like HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, and Xerox. Shop in-store, mention TNR for a 10% discount. Shop online at imagecraft.net with coupon code TNR10. ImageCraft. Print more, spend less.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Hey friends, if you're looking to expand your business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us at sales@nextroundlive.com to be part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential consumers on our ever-expanding platform. Let the Next Round help take your business to the next level. Get more information by emailing us at sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Is that a new bump music?
I put that in a while ago. I don't know why it's just now playing.
I like it. Yeah, a little country theme on the bump music there. Way to go. Back with you.
It's
on
that bro country, right?
Yeah. LTD and B with you here as we about to talk a little more football. Bill Connolly put out he's done his metrics. This will be the way you'll start the season next year on the toughest schedules in college football. We've talked about a few of these already. Toughest schedules in college football. Number 1, Oklahoma. Toughest schedule in college football.
At least you're not coaching for your job.
Oklahoma.
I mean, when you're coaching for your job and then you see yourself on one of these lists, you're like, crap.
Number 2, the Florida Gators.
At least you're not coaching for your job. I mean, when you're coaching for your job and you just see yourself number 2 on one of these lists.
Tough.
Like,
tough.
Crap.
Number 3 on this list, Arkansas.
At least you're not coaching for your job. Do you see the pattern here?
You can keep going.
I know.
Number 4, not SEC, Wisconsin.
Coaching for his job.
Yep. Number 5, Vandy.
That's a guy that finally has some security there.
Number 6, Mississippi State.
I don't think Levy, I mean, they fired a coach 2 years in with Moorhead.
Oh, and Zach Arnett, only
Zach
1
Arnett
year.
1 year. So they've had a quicker trigger than you might imagine in Starkville.
Number 7, South Carolina. Number 8, Kentucky. Number 9, LSU. Number 10, Texas A&M. Again, this is in the nation. 9 of the top 10 SEC. Toughest schedules, Bill Connolly, ESPN. Number 11, Alabama. Number 12, Texas. Number 13, Georgia. Number 14, Syracuse. And number 15, Auburn. 13 of the top 15 are in the SEC.
That's a bit low for Auburn in comparison to some of the years we've done this. Now, in many of the years we've done this, you start with the fact that Georgia and Alabama are always on that schedule, and they have been the top 2 teams in America a lot.
And the way he does this, by the way, is...
I'm a little surprised with Texas because it seemed like such an easy schedule last year. Now I know the out-of-conference with Ohio State.
He takes the computer models of what a top 5 team is from last year, So this is what a top 5 team would do against your schedule, and then he rates them out on who has the toughest schedule. So Oklahoma, if they had a top 5 team, would be playing the toughest schedule. It's not like, okay, it's tough for Vandy to beat anybody's schedule, or it's tough for Syracuse to beat anybody's schedule. It's like what a top 5 team would do against all of these schedules, and that's how he comes up with the toughest schedule. So even if you're a top 5 team, Oklahoma's schedule is tough. Even if you're a top 5 team, Florida's schedule is tough. And I think that speaks volume. If you're wondering about the other SEC teams, how they have it easy, Ole Miss is the 23rd toughest schedule in the country. Tennessee is the 24th toughest schedule in the country. And Missouri is the 25 toughest schedule in the country. So the entire SEC is in the top 25.
That's interesting for Tennessee. That's a
doable schedule.
Well, I mean, that's a college football playoff team that is returning their starting quarterback for better or for worse, and you've got that manageable of a schedule, which I have not spent much time perusing it, but now that I look at it, Lance, that is not that bad a schedule for them.
Georgia at home, Alabama on the road are going to be the two that pop out.
But outside of that, your non-conference is a neutral site against Syracuse in Atlanta, a home game against UAB, a home game against East Tennessee State, and a home game against New Mexico State. Those are all easily winnable games.
Well, I think the only game there for sure, an underdog, is at Bama.
Yeah. Even hosting Georgia, huh?
Yeah, I think Georgia's going to be favored there, but Gunnar Stockton, I mean, how good is Georgia going to be this year? I think they're going to be really good.
If you're just listening,
I would say Georgia's not going to be more than a 3 or 4 point favorite.
Their SEC schedule is home against Georgia, at State. Both of those are in September. After their bye, host Arkansas, who beat them last year, at Alabama, at Kentucky, host Oklahoma. And then after their second bye is New Mexico State, at Florida, and Vandy. That is manageable.
A lot of pressure to get back to a college football playoff. And say this, Nico, I don't want to say can't be any worse, but he's got to be better, right?
He's got to be better. I agree with that.
He's regressed, though, don't you think? From where you first saw Nico?
Well, I mean, we saw him against Chattanooga, and he looked incredible. And then he's just, he was okay.
Yeah. Our show today being brought to you by our friends at Odie's. What was the question last night, LT?
What came first, the start of World War II or Martha Stewart? And I'm not talking about, so this is when
United States interest.
Germany invades Poland. So this has nothing to do with our affiliation after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
So this is the legitimate start of World War II.
The invasion was in Poland was
1938.
It was either 38 or 39, so I'm going to go that came just before Martha Stewart.
The ultimate start was the old assassination there, right? Of Franz Ferdinand.
That was World War I.
That was World War I.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like his band later, Franz Ferdinand. I was just throwing that in there. Did you?
That was a good band.
Yeah.
1938, I think, and I'm going to say Martha Stewart was also in 1938. It's just going to be a few months earlier.
So World War II actually I think September of 1939.
I missed it by a year.
And then Martha Stewart 1941. So World War II did eke her out just a little bit. Things you learn at Odie's Team Trivia. We do it every Wednesday night. Come join us there at the original location in Crestline, newest location in Edgewood. Fantastic food at both locations. I got that south of the border roll-up with the spicy slaw last night. They've got incredible sandwiches like the Diablo sandwich, burgers, wings, all from Rodney Davis. Been doing it for more than 3.5 decades. Stop in, go see Will Haver and that great staff. 2 locations, Birmingham Institution, Odie's Tavern.
The College Football Spotlight
is presented each day by Alexander Shinora Trial Attorneys, the Shinora Spotlight, where we talk college football, and they are a national firm with Southern roots, headquartered in Birmingham with 24 years. The firm has grown to more than 150 lawyers, supported by 500 dedicated team members, and they've recovered more than $2 billion with a B, $billion, maintaining these core values of our guy Alexander Shinora: integrity, mastery, passion, and success. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call the Alexander Shinora Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case.
I've been amazed getting to know their team a little bit more down there. Just all the different arms they have in their building downtown here in Birmingham. Just hundreds of dedicated people working for you. Love those people there. Bill Belichick's working for a new beginning at North Carolina. One stat to keep in mind is North Carolina's offensive numbers, even good last year, but they were 93rd in defense. Bill Belichick's a defensive guy. So Bill Belichick, what was day one like on the field as a college coach? How are the guys responding to you, and how are you responding to them?
Yeah, the response has been great. It's similar to like what a rookie mini camp would be, and time with the rookies. Granted, those kids are a little bit older, but they're coming from all different programs and different situations, and so it's starting to put everything together. Here's how we do things. Here's what our expectations are. This is what you need to do to be successful, and they've embraced that. They've tried to do it. Again, we have a long way to go. We haven't accomplished anything, but we're a lot further along than we were five weeks ago, and the players are ready to practice and ready to learn and embrace a new program.
Wow, much more upbeat Bill Belichick than I had imagined.
A little more pacing from him.
Yeah.
I was that's right. He's talking faster. I'm going to say he looks a little younger.
Jim, it's so weird you say that. I was just watching that soundbite to our right on the preview screen here, and I thought, this looks like a guy that was in the grind of the NFL. Now, we talk about how much of a grind college has become, but was in the grind of the NFL, has taken a year off, and is refreshed. I mean, he looks, I don't know if he looks younger, but he definitely looks refreshed.
Well, I think look, and he is hanging out with a much younger girl, and they're going to a lot of tropical places. We've seen a lot of the posts from social media, so that probably does help a little bit. Now, I think he can quickly re-age when, especially if North Carolina plays like they did last year.
Yeah, well, I don't think they're in the top 25 of tough schedules.
And by far losing your best player.
I would say that at the end at New England, he wasn't getting along with the owner, right?
I don't think he was getting along with his quarterback either.
I think there was a lot of dysfunction in there.
Brady left, wasn't getting along with Brady at the end. Just a lot of things that weren't moving in the same direction there. That ages you, makes you look not enjoyed the job anymore. And then he takes that year off. He's dating a 20-something-year-old. Life's good for Bill Belichick. And I think that color blue makes you look better, too. Not that color, but that baby blue makes you look better.
That backdrop is way too busy.
Well, we got a lot on there.
Well, it scares me because it's warning me about security problems.
It does. It almost looks like
it's perfect.
Their computer got hacked, right?
Yeah, but it's perfect for North Carolina because they had security problems with their defense last year. 93rd in scoring. Texas Tech, boy, this has been an off season of us talking Texas Tech a lot. By the way, that's our Shannara spotlight, but we'll keep it going with Texas Tech here. Texas Tech yesterday gave us a tour of their new football building, $242 million football complex they opened up yesterday in Lubbock. It includes things that we've seen in places like Tuscaloosa, like an underwater treadmill. They've got that in Tuscaloosa, right?
Yeah.
They've got that at SEC schools, but now it's at Texas Tech. But one of the things they're bragging about is a 2-story lounge. Here's the YouTube video from Texas Tech Athletics that they sent out. Now this is just going to, like, SEC people are going to look at this and they're going to say,
yeah, we got this.
Yeah. But this is Texas Tech, y'all.
Well,
and a 2-story players lounge that they're bragging about.
Now, how much of this is the dude?
Well, I bet you a lot of it. What'd you say,
$242 million football.
So this guy sold his business lands for 4.1. 242 takes you down to 3.9, 3.8. I can still get by on 3.8.
Yeah.
No, that's a nice facility.
Yeah, but it's SEC-like, but it is. Yeah. It would be top of the SEC-like.
Well, I will say this. I remember several years ago, and it's been a while, and I'm sure things have been upgraded since, but I remember Chip Brown telling us Baylor had the best facilities in the Big 12. You guys remember that, right?
That surprised me.
Well, it blew us all away, and then I was not long after that in Waco, and, I mean, their stadium is right there on the interstate as you come in on I-40, I-35, whatever that is. And so we peeled off and went and looked. I could not believe how mid-tier their facilities looked. And all I was thinking about is Chip has told me these are the best in the conference. Well, I know. I mean, that's the sad thing. I think he might have been right. So
I'll be on with Chip later today. I'll find out if Texas Tech now is viewed as the best facilities in the Big 12. I would guess they are, right?
They gotta be
just
with
walking
that.
around this thing. And again, a lot of this I've seen in Tuscaloosa, but this is Texas Tech. I don't think of Texas Tech as having the best facilities.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm with you, Jim. Texas Tech is probably
quite the operation.
It is. I am fascinated to watch this play out. Like, I think Joey McGuire's a pretty good coach,
yeah, I do too. And the Morton kid was a good quarterback this year. I guess he's back. I know he was a junior. I don't think he transferred.
Yeah. And Auburn with their new facility they just opened up, not going to find much better than that either. So, again, I think this is SEC-like, but it's Lubbock, Texas. So instantly in my head becomes one of the best buildings in Lubbock. I would imagine.
I would agree.
Well, probably
It's got to be the nicest. I know there's oil money there, but I don't know how you can get any more modern.
Pretty sweet there. Red Raider fuel there. They did the zone as well. So it's all working out good there for Texas Tech. And that's our Shannara spotlight today.
Yeah, Shannara Trial Attorneys. Alexander Shannara heading up that crew there, and they do a tremendous job. The firm now handles not only any personal injury claim, but also claims for fire and storm damage, bad drug and device claims, disability, workers' compensation, and a host of other claims. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call the Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case.
Okay, when we come back, Clint Lamb will join the show, but here's our Dr. B moment of the day. Our Dr. B moment of the day is, I never say his name right, Adrian Wojnarowski. Is that close?
Just say Woj.
Wojnarowski, I think is how you say it, but Woj is the way everybody goes.
Used to drop the Woj bombs.
Woj bombs in the NBA.
I was the NBA insider breaking news for a couple of decades, right?
Mm-hmm.
He left, and he is the St. Bonaventure basketball general manager is what he does now. Last night.
Did he go to school there?
I think he did.
Yeah, there's got to be a connection.
Something sold for $12,700 on auction. What do you think it was?
His old cell phone.
It was his old iPhone, and it had a list. It had a list of things that he broke news on, including the NBA shutdown on COVID, Kyrie Irving to somewhere.
Did it have all his contacts?
Yeah, he's got to delete the contacts.
No, he's had to delete the contacts.
Yeah, too many numbers.
But
in
the
there.
actual phone, the actual phone he used sold for $12,700 in a St. Bonaventure basketball fundraiser last night.
It's funny because Adam Schefter and Brian Windhorst were on Get Up this morning, and they were asking if you could go through one guy's phone, who would you rather go through? Now, I think we all gravitate towards the NFL, but either one of their phones would be fascinating, especially now that those guys have become kind of the go-to guys in both sports.
You guys go to the NFL. I go to Oxford, Mississippi.
Lanes?
Yeah, well, I'm just talking about like for, some of the conversations and breaking news and things like that.
I'll just take, I don't even need his phone. I'll just take access to Lane's DMs.
What about if you
I've seen the receiving end of some of those.
Yeah, I wonder if
I want to see what he gets back.
That would be the interesting angle there.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people.
You want the return mail?
Yeah, I do. All right, Clint Lamb on what goes on in Tuscaloosa. Day 2 over there, brought to you by our man, Dr. B.
Hey, that new T3 test is so easy, painless, affordable, takes 4 seconds to perform. It's going to show which medicines and compounds will specifically work for your hair loss. There are over 10 categories of agents they use, knowing they will work for you. They can custom compound these agents for you in pill or topical form. You pick and choose which agents you want. Men and women ordering Hims, other products online, don't even know if they work. Stop wasting your money and critical time while you're losing hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Come see Dr. B and that great staff. Find out what will work for you. 205-319-0316. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. B for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. For more information, t3hair.net.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at Scott Forrester TV.
I'm attorney Alexander Shannara, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to rhoback.com and click on the refreshed collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money. If you're looking to expand business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us. Send an email to sales@nextroundlive.com to be a part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platform. Join our existing partners in the fastest growing media space, both live and on demand, and reach the most desirable audience for your business. Get information and more by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to take your business to the next level with the next round.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
All right, Auburn fans, I want you to become a member of thebarnauburn.com and join in on the fun. Whether it's recruiting discussions, off-season chatter, or the latest Auburn athletics news, we've got it all. Get $25 off your annual subscription when you sign up for your account at thebarnauburn.com today. War Eagle.
When you crave activity like we do, you belong in the Roback family. Get the best golf wear, hoodies, and activewear for men and women at Roback.com. Use promo code TNR20 to get 20% off your order. That's Roback.com, promo code TNR20.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, final hour of the show brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go by and see Sterling, now open for about 3 minutes for lunch. Open throughout the day, Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. Get the opportunity there to go in there, have a great lunch, dinner, destination location there. If you got somebody in from out of town, I always tell you, great Southern fried chicken. They want some Southern food. You get it all with the great sides, the Mississippi Delta recipe, tamales, and everything with the best customer service from Sterling and the guys down there. Highway 119 in Alabaster is champyschicken.com.
All right, our guy Clint Lamb is with us, covercrimson.com. Great time to jump on there with Alabama heading to the NCAA tournament and the SEC tournament first, having to play Auburn down in Auburn before all of that, and then spring football also going on. Clint is with us to talk about that now. What is up, Clint? How are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic, fellas. How you guys doing?
Doing awesome. Thanks a lot. Covercrimson.com is where you can go and sign up for that. Get the message board. Get a lot of great content, a lot of great shows from Clint and the crew there. All right, so obviously it's a spring practice without a returning starter, so you know what we're going to talk about, right? It's quarterback. Austin Mack seems to be the talk of the show today. Have I read that wrong?
Well, Rece Davis brought him up.
Yeah, Rece was talking basketball. He brought him up. I made the point that Austin, I think, kind of got labeled as a comfort transfer. Like, the coaches just brought him in because they knew what they had, and in case of emergency, break glass and play Austin Mack, which I think is a bit unfair to the kid.
That's a very fair point. I do think that was a part of it, but this was not just a guy where that didn't have a lot of upside. Like you talk about Ty Simpson being a former 5-star prospect. You talk about, Keelan Russell being a 5-star freshman and kind of has controlled a lot of the narrative as far as the offseason quarterback talk. But Austin Mack, I mean, he was a guy who reclassified. He was young. Really, this past season for Alabama should have been his true freshman year. But he's continued to get better. He's got the size. He's got the arm strength. He's worked on his throwing motion, which I think has become a lot more compact and consistent. I think that's certainly helped him. And he's a guy who works extremely hard. And when you talk about winning the locker room over, that's one of the first things that anybody will tell you is the quarterback going to set a good example? Austin Mack connects with his teammates, and he certainly provides an example as far as the work ethic and all that. And so I think that while a lot of people are going to focus on Ty because of the fact that he's been in the system so long, and it's kind of in a lot of people's eyes, it's his turn. And then you got a lot of people focusing on, Keelan Russell because of what he brings from a talent standpoint. Austin Mack is talented in his own right. He's still extremely young and he works extremely hard. I think he would be an excellent fit as a quarterback in Kalen DeBoer and Ryann Grubb's system should he win the job. Certainly shouldn't be a guy that we forget to talk about.
Well, look, Michael Penix was a Heisman finalist, and he really couldn't run. But you look at the stature of a guy like Austin Mack, 6'6", legitimate 235, 240 pounds. Can he move at all, Clint?
Yeah, he's got some mobility. Really, all these guys have mobility. It's just I wouldn't call them run first. And I know Jalen Milroe didn't want to be run first, but that was his style. Alabama kind of had to build the offense or tweak the offense to fit that skill set. Now it's more of your legs will play a complementary piece to whatever you're doing as far as through your traditional run game with your running backs and then what you're doing in the passing game with all that talent they have at receiver. So I think it will be a much better, style in which to kind of operate on a week-to-week basis.
It's just coincidence that all this has happened. The Rece comment today, you're on the day talking today, but The Athletic, I don't know if you're a member or not, but they have a story that's out today that put up 4 hours ago. Searching for a quarterback in the spring college football transfer portal. Look to these 5 teams. And whose picture do you think they use? They use Austin Mack.
Yeah.
Austin Mack's picture there in that. So my question is, do you think all 3 of these quarterbacks, you assume Russell would still be here, you think all 3 of them are on the roster when Alabama kicks off to start the season in Tallahassee?
Well, I would need the answer to who's going to be the starting quarterback to answer that.
Well, I'm not saying pick one. I'm just saying, do you think all 3 are there?
Well, let's go through this scenario, Clint. Let's say that Ty Simpson is your starting quarterback.
Yes, I do think it's possible because at that point, a lot of people are like, hey, Keelan Russell's the kind of talent. If you don't start him year 1, he's transferring. The question is why? I mean, I can understand the concern if, Ty Simpson had a good enough year to potentially retain the starting job, but he wasn't good enough to move on to the NFL. Now you're talking about Keelan potentially sitting for 2 years. Then you probably need to start having that conversation. But there are so many, freshman phenoms at quarterback who don't end up starting as a freshman who stick around as long as they're kind of projected to be the next guy. Austin Mack and him, if Ty Simpson had the kind of year where, he would move on, the battle would then turn to Keelan Russell and Austin Mack. Now, granted, if Keelan goes ahead and passes Austin Mack up for that number 2 job, maybe you would need to talk about Austin Mack. But the fact that he's so young, he would still have multiple years after this season. And there's a reason that he trusted and followed Ryann Grubb and Kalen DeBoer in the first place. I really don't think that if Ty Simpson ends up being the starter, that any of the guys would transfer. Now, granted, if Keelan Russell's the guy, would Ty transfer? It's possible, and maybe that holds true for Austin Mack. But there's a lot of different ways this could work out.
Clint Lamb is with us. CoverCrimson.com is the website. CoverCrimson.com. That's where you go to get all the information on Alabama right now. Clint with us on the Alexander Shinora Trial Attorneys Hotline. You can follow Clint on social media at Clint R. Lamb, at Clint R. Lamb on social media. It was weird watching last season how Alabama's defense went from major concern to probably the best unit at the end of the year. To what do you attribute that, Clint, number one? And number 2, can it even take another step forward, do you think? I know it's just spring football, but, how could it take another step forward under Kane Womack?
I think, first of all, guys getting more comfortable in Kane Womack's system. That certainly helped. That Wolf position and the way that they use it as far as being kind of a shallow off-ball linebacker that kind of roams and fills certain gaps, it's a much different feel, kind of being more of a 3-3, but that third linebacker's not really going to be a guy who's going to be utilized in pass coverage. I think that's where it started, was just guys getting more comfortable. But then I think generating the turnovers and the fact that vision-oriented defense really started to come on strong. Now, my biggest concern for the defense going in to this season would probably be the lack of sack production. Now, we talked about that going into last year. Kane Wommack's defense has never really been designed to get a high number of sacks. It's more so been pressure to turnovers rather than pressure converting to sacks. But I do feel like Alabama had a lot of opportunities last year, LT Overton in particular, where they could have finished a lot better, put the offense in a lot more unfavorable, down and distances, and really try to capitalize on those turnovers even more. I would fully expect with the returning production in the secondary, a lot of playmakers on the back end and really on the second level, assuming everybody is healthy, they're going to have the ability to generate turnovers. I would just like to see the front be able to get a little bit more of a consistent pass rush. LT Overton was a huge part of that. Probably need some complementary pieces to him. I certainly think they got the horses to do that, but that would probably be my biggest concern for the defense, and whether or not they're able to take another step forward. Because if they can do that and they can stop the run more effectively, which, as I said, it got more comfortable as far as responsibilities, but the run fits and all that stuff. I love Jahad Campbell. I love Deontay Lawson. But their run fits from the second level wasn't consistent enough. I think Nakai Hill-Green really addresses that issue, but, they got to have some complementary pieces to that as well, because all it takes is one open gap and, the offense can have success on the ground. Got to be able to stop the run more consistently, too.
Yeah, back to Jahad Campbell, led the team with 5 sacks, only 25 total sacks last year, and he has solidified himself in Indianapolis, probably a top 20 guy. But now that he is gone, is there – look, Will Anderson was Will Anderson, but Dallas Turner, you talk about true edge guys. Is there a potential guy that you see on this defense that could be a double-digit sack guy ultimately?
Kane Wommack's defense, I think maybe once it was Indiana no, I think it was South Alabama when he was the defensive coordinator back in 2017. That's the only time he's ever had a guy who broke double-digit sacks. So it hadn't been all too common. But I do think they got some guys who could potentially reach that. I think LT Overton just simply finishing a little bit better. He had 39 pressures and only 2 sacks. When you see guys getting up in the high 30s, low 40s as far as pressures, normally that converts to about 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 sacks. It's just LT Overton couldn't finish at a high enough rate where he only finished with 2. That's something that I think will be addressed. He'll be a lot more of a consistent impact player. But whether you're talking about those versatile pieces, being able to play off ball, being able to play on ball, Justin Hill, the true freshman, I'm really impressed with him. I think he brings a lot of that versatility. I think he'll be able to play the Wolf position in the way that Kane Wommack wants to deploy it. Does that mean he's going to come in as a freshman and be a double-digit sack guy? No, I don't even really think that he starts. But I think he can provide some juice off the edge. I think Quay Russaw going from 251 to 241. I loved his ability to set the edge at 251, but I do feel like that there was some stiffness to his game where really it didn't translate well to being a good pass rusher, a consistent pass rusher. I think him being lighter is certainly going to help on that front, and him being healthy for the entirety of the season. Hopefully that should help him be a lot more consistent and productive. A guy like Yanze Pierre, probably the most talented pass rusher on the team, but, due to weight and play strength, he kind of, he couldn't really handle the early down work as well as he probably needed to, which limited his opportunities to be more of a situational player. I'm hoping with the continued added weight, I think he's up to 246, which is a 7-pound increase from last season. I'm hoping he's able to hold up better against the run, which should help him be on the field more, where he can kind of utilize those pass rushing skills. So like I said, whether it be the bandit position, whether it be, Wolf, I think on the interior with guys like James Smith, they have some disruptive traits. They can certainly generate a consistent pass rush. It's probably going to be more of a collective type of thing. We've got a lot of guys getting involved, but no one particular player kind of standing out and going for double-digit sacks.
Listen, this time last year, Clint, you'd lost 2 first-round draft picks in the secondary. You'd lost the kid to Ole Miss, the kid to Ohio State. I didn't know what the hell Alabama's secondary is going to look like. How do you feel about them this year with the guys that are coming back and the new guys there? It's got to be night and day.
Oh, it's incredible. It makes a huge difference in the way that you perceive the team, too, because last year you looked and you said there's talent all over the place. They've recruited the position well from the high school rankings, but just the inexperience is going to be a massive problem. And, a guy like Keon Sabb, him going down really hurt Alabama's secondary last year. But what it did do is it gave Bray Hubbard an opportunity to get on the field. And while you would have been, it's possible Keon Sabb would have moved on to the NFL should he been if he would have been healthy for the entire season, on top of losing Malachi Moore. Now you've got Keon Sabb coming back. Bray Hubbard's got that experience. You've got a couple of experienced, safeties. Zay Mincy was able to start in the bowl game, 5-star freshman last year. Really like what he was able to do from a run support standpoint. But then at corner, Damani Jackson being out in the spring has kind of left the corner position a little thin as far as experience. But I think that if push came to shove, like Deshaun Jones, he was outside corner last year. He ended up playing some Husky, sliding inside and really helping at that position. He's currently working with the safeties in practice. Would fully expect him to either be Alabama's starting Husky or really heavily involved in that rotation along with Red Morgan. But if he needs to, if something happened from a depth standpoint on the perimeter, he could move back outside. Maybe if Jalen Mbakwe, if they really needed him to, he might switch back to the defensive side of the football. So I think that they could shore up the depth if they really needed to out there. But when you look at the top with, Damani Jackson coming back, Xavier Brown, the fact that you go out and you get a guy like Cam Calhoun, who I think is going to be a massive part of Alabama's plans defensively. They rotate out there at corner. You look last year between Jalen Mbakwe and Deshaun Jones, they kind of, both were Alabama's cornerback 3 last year. They combined for almost 400 snaps. You look the season before, Trey Amos being that cornerback 3, he played 340 snaps. And so depth at that position is absolutely key. I think Alabama at least runs 3 deep. You also got, Dejon Lee, who is a, 5-star corner, really highly talented player. I was watching him yesterday, the biggest cornerback I've ever seen in person. And not much is sacrificed from a movement perspective. I certainly think he could end up playing safety or Husky down the line, but I also think he could stay on the perimeter for all 4 years or 3 years. He's that kind of talent. And so, there's some inexperience there, but I think that they could run at least 3 or 4 deep and really run even deeper than that at corner if you start moving some guys back around. And the safety position, the Husky, you got a couple of guys. I really think when you talk about that vision-oriented defense under Kane Womack, having an experienced secondary like this is really going to help on that front.
All right, I want to go back to offensive line before you go, Clint. Clint Lamb with us, covercrimson.com, where right now you got a discounted annual plan right there. So that first year of your annual plan, you get a nice discount there, just $74.99 for the entire year. You can join at covercrimson.com. That is covercrimson.com. Also, monthly plan if you want to join there. Olas Ananen, dang, I almost had it. Olas Ananen. Am I close, Clint? Am I close enough? You'll let me pass?
I say Alinen.
Alinen?
Okay.
I've
seen I've seen it pronounced a lot of ways, but I can just say Alinen easier.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I should go that way then.
Is this the German?
He grew up in Finland. Now, his dad played football, but normally when a kid grows up in Finland, okay, this kid's going to be a project, but he's getting 1 reps right now, if I'm not mistaken, in the practices you've seen. Was he a project? Are we just saying that because the kid grew up in Finland?
A guy like Arko Anugum, who, also kind of really didn't have a whole lot of experience playing football, the Ball State transfer. He did start 1 game last year, I think played about 100 snaps. I viewed him more so as a project compared to Alinen. But, he was a guy who physically, he was pretty much ready from day 1, but there was some adjustment period for him. Now that he's going to be going into year 3, he has been getting some work at left tackle. Caden Proctor's out this spring, or he's limited to a black no contact. He's only been able to do individual drills. And then from a tackle depth standpoint, they're having a lot of problems. And that's kind of presented, Olas the opportunity to kick outside and play some left tackle. We played some right tackle last year. I'm sure he's getting some reps at right tackle too. But when Kalen DeBoer was asked about it, I think long-term, they view him as a guard. And so you stick him out there to help with your depth. But if he's actually a guy who you think can compete to start at left guard to replace Tyler Booker, then it's kind of unfair to him to kind of stick him out there and him just be a placeholder. Like when, Demoy Kennedy ended up playing, switching from linebacker to running back because Alabama was depleted at that position a few years ago. Did that help Demoy Kennedy? Do they view him as a running back long-term? Absolutely not. So that was pretty much half a season where he was playing a position he was never going to play in the future. So you don't want to hurt their long-term development, but you also really need that help. They're trying a lot of guys out there at tackle, a lot of interior guys who are going to be playing on the interior long-term. And Olas is certainly a guy who's got some guard tackle flexibility. I think he's done a pretty good job. But I think if he ends up starting anywhere, it's going to be, I guess it's possible he ends up starting at right guard if something happens with Jaden Roberts, but left guard would probably be that position. And yesterday, on Monday, he did play left tackle. Yesterday, we pretty much exclusively saw him playing left guard. So, I love the versatility. He is a guy who I think is very much involved in that competition. Is he a favorite? Probably not, but he's a kid that's coming along really nicely. And I think Alabama really needs more guys like that to step up from a depth standpoint.
All right, go follow Clint on social media at Clint Lamb and go sign up at covercrimson.com where you get a great discount on that first year annual. And you can also pay monthly if you choose to do that. Covercrimson.com and get all the updates from all the spring practices, some original content there. Basketball, I saw last night they had a very active game thread during the Bama Florida game, as you might imagine. Very active. You can get all that right there. Thank you, Clint. Have a great weekend. Always good to catch up.
Absolutely, fellas. Good talking to you guys.
All right, buddy. Take care. Clint Lamb with us on the Alexander Shinora Trial Attorneys Hotline.
Yeah. Our Hempill moment of the day comes from the Tebow family. Tebow's career always ran hot. Some would put his wife, Demi Lee, in the hot category as well. Well, they made a big announcement yesterday. Pretty unique way to they're pregnant.
Right.
And Demi Lee and Tim Tebow did a gender reveal, and they did it in a pretty cool way. They blindfold each other, and they start putting paint on the canvas back there.
Okay.
And you take the video to black and white.
Very
artsy. Are the pants unbuttoned because she's pregnant because of the bulge? Okay.
Yeah. So she is.
I just normally don't see that, do you?
So the gender reveal.
Right. We go to color, and it is
a baby girl's coming for the Tebows there. Congratulations to them. It's a little girl for Demi Lee and Tim Tebow. Congratulations to them. Still one of the more popular SEC players of all time. That is our Hempill hot and cold moment of the day.
205-229-2090. Trusted name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew. The guys on standby. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
And our friends at New Life Art getting ready for that special moment. Speaking of putting paint on canvas, Daniel A. Moore has been doing that all the way back since the goal line stand and all the other great moments. And right now, he's reminding you can celebrate the Eagles' Super Bowl win with some former Alabama players who were in Philadelphia green and Alabama crimson. That included Jalen Hurts, Landon Dickerson, and Devontae Smith. Get those great works from yesteryear or celebrate Nick Saban's 6 national championships in Tuscaloosa by using the promo code TNR. TNR is the promo code, DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com. A couple of things away from football and basketball. Ovechkin scored again last night. He's 10 away from Wayne Gretzky. 10 away, closing in.
He's got 20 regular season games to get the 10.
Yeah. On pace to do it right now.
Yeah, but his last 12 games, he's got 10 goals.
Yeah. He's hot.
Yeah.
I knew it. Every night on the ticker, it seems like he scores again. Tonight, my adopted NBA team takes on LT's NBA team, Knicks Lakers, 9 o'clock TNT.
Got to play on this game, by the way.
If you're not paying attention, the Lakers have won 7 straight, and they're now second in the West.
It's almost like they added a really good player that is not the washed-up, drunk overeater that his former team says he is.
Third best record in the NBA since the trade deadline. They're 10-2 right now with Luka in the lineup. And, not only Luka, your player of the month coming out of February was LeBron James.
Yeah.
So
do you know how good he's got to be to win player of the month?
Look,
because you expect it out of him.
Well, LeBron is going to be, by most accounts, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to win the MVP more than likely, but LeBron is going to be, according to most insiders, in the top 3 MVP votes.
Which, again, do you know how good he's got to be an MVP?
But you've got that. Now you've got Luka, and Austin Reeves is playing out of his mind. So this is a really good Lakers team. Do I think they win a championship? No, but they can make a run at the West, 100%.
Look for the Knicks to hit a bunch of threes tonight and win that game.
I got to play on that game.
Oh, you think so?
Lanceslike.com for a play on that game. To the NFL, crazy free agent and trades and releases going on right now. Max Crosby signs with the Raiders. Probably the best player you never watch because he's on the Raiders. 3-year extension, $106.5 million, $91 million of it's guaranteed. His $35.5 million deal is the largest contract for a non-quarterback in the league right now.
Well, one of my favorite players to watch. People talk about motors. I mean, this guy plays the game at another level. He's got an incredible backstory. A guy that had substance abuse problems, battled through that.
Played hundreds of more snaps than other people at his position.
I remember he cost me a bad beat one time. He picked off a pass at Eastern Michigan for a touchdown as a defensive lineman. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I had a MAC action going on.
Who is this guy?
Leads the league. Tackles for losses and pressures.
Oh, he's unblockable.
Yeah,
and
he
relentless.
really is. Yeah.
Just relentless. He
is
Lance
a dog.
Right. Yeah, every play.
But by the Raiders signing him to that extension right now and making him the highest paid non-quarterback in the league, do you know the pain in the butt he just became to the Jones family in Dallas? Because who needs a new contract right now?
I'm going to guess Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons does.
Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, Myles Garrett needs a new contract right now.
Well, Myles Garrett's not going to be in Cleveland, though.
No.
Yeah.
But whoever gets him is going to have to pay money.
But both of those guys are going to get paid.
Yeah.
A ton.
That is crazy. And on the flip side of that, 29-year-old Joey Bosa, Bosa actually was released yesterday.
It's crazy.
By the Chargers. They saved $25 million against the cap by releasing him.
There was a rumor last week that the Dolphins were in talks to trade for him. And I don't know if that's because they knew he was going to go, and you wouldn't think this would matter, but Bosa's dad played for the Dolphins, obviously. So now that he's released, I mean, I didn't really put much validation into the rumors there, but you wonder if he ends up in Miami.
He's still relatively young at 29, but the problem is the injuries.
3 years of injuries.
Yeah.
No, he's perfect for Miami then. Why would he not end up in Miami?
But he is the second all-time sack leader in franchise history for the Chargers. You guys know who number one is?
Junior Seau?
Nope.
Wow. You knew I'd guess that, right?
Nope, I did not.
You didn't think I'd say Junior
I thought
Seau?
you might actually get this right.
Is it?
Well, let me think about it then.
Okay, because I think I know the answer.
Oh, do you? Go ahead.
Why do I want to say Merriweather.
Nope.
It was not Merriweather? Really?
He might have had the season high. Lights out might have, but
I can't remember a Charger defensive end.
Leslie O'Neal was really good for a long time.
Was not going to get that.
I think former Oklahoma State Cowboy.
Would have never known that. DK Metcalf wants a release from Seattle. He wants a trade from Seattle. They released Tyler Lockett. I just want to give you real quickly the number of free agents who are wide receivers. The market doesn't open for a few more days for them to be officially free agents. But you've got Cooper Kupp, who is on the trading blocks, DK Metcalf, who wants to be traded, Devontae Adams, who's already been released, Christian Kirk, who got released yesterday, Stephon Diggs is going to be a free agent, Chris Godwin, the Bucs are trying to re-sign him, but he's going to be a free agent, and Amari Cooper is a free agent. That's just the tip of the iceberg of the receivers that are out there available if you're looking for receivers.
I mean, that's some good names. I heard this morning that Cooper Kupp might just be outright released.
Yeah.
Which means they're not getting good feedback on what they can get for the trade. Yeah.
So throw him into the mix of Stephon Diggs and all the others.
But why would you trade for Cooper Kupp? As much as you like Cooper Kupp and I like Cooper Kupp, when you just heard that list of guys, you could just sign as a free agent.
Yeah, if Chris Godwin makes it to free agent, I don't know if I'd rather have him than Cooper Kupp, but I could get by with Chris Godwin. He's still really good.
Would you rather have Devontae Adams than Cooper Kupp?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't? No. Would you rather have...
Wait, Devontae's 32 now?
Yeah. Amari Cooper's late in his career, but Amari Cooper has played well every single stop. I mean...
Gets open, man. That
he
guy runs a
does.
good route.
He has had a really good career.
And Diggs got injured last year, right? But Stephon Diggs is still pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, your concern about Stephon Diggs is it seemed like he was a bit of a malcontent in Buffalo, and I don't know if that was just the reports.
Well, Buffalo really had no drop-off.
That's right.
And, the Texans, I mean, I know he was out a lot, but they didn't have really any increase. They weren't much better.
And by the way,
weren't even any better in year two under Stroud.
And by the way, if you're not paying attention, these names are being released or they're moving on. I think some of it's a young talent that's in the league, and some of it's just smart business. Only 2 franchise tags this year. The deadline is passed. First time since 1994 that you had so few franchise tags. You had Higgins of the Bengals, and you had Trey Smith of the Chiefs. Nobody else got a franchise tag.
That's pretty wild.
That was the...
It seemed like every team had one.
That was the
point.
Sayball.
Yeah.
Right.
It seemed like everybody had to pick their franchise tag.
It was the bailout.
Yeah.
And,
in fact, I kind of thought you had to. I mean, I just don't follow that closely.
You thought it was by rule you had to have a
that
franchise?
almost everybody had to be under a franchise tag.
Yeah.
Or almost every team had to have at least one guy.
I mean,
Because
we've seen kickers franchise before.
Yeah.
So what this tells you is that the top 5 salaries at each position has gotten so high that if you tag them, it's a big 1-year deal, and also that there's so much talent out there that you're willing to play Moneyball, basically, and let somebody go. Interesting.
I've never really liked the whole franchise tag concept because, the player's making a ton of money, but he's also on a 1-year deal. If he has a catastrophic injury, his career could be over.
That's why they don't like it.
That's why they don't like it. As a fan, I don't like it because it feels like the player's pissed off. Yeah. You're only getting 1 more year out of him. He's going to go to free agency as soon as you lift that.
Yeah, because if it works out like you want it to as a fan and they add the player, then he's going to be bitter and resentful towards the team. And especially if they ever get franchised twice.
Yeah, and he plays all out.
Like T. Higgins.
Yeah. So he plays all out. So my best case scenario is he comes off the franchise tag. Now I have to pay him probably more than I was going to have to pay him because he just had a great year.
Or he's going somewhere else and he's pissed.
Or he's a malcontent and he has a bad year. And now I'm paying him top 5 money to have a bad year.
Yeah. But like you said, T. Higgins back-to-back years, they're trying to work out a long-term deal with him to make him happy. All right, that's around the NFL. When we come back, more on basketball last night. We'll hear more from Nate Oates on that loss for Alabama. Don't forget the basketball show returns tomorrow morning. Get you ready for the weekend. Taylor Corn and I. There is a new version of Bama and Bourbon out with Lance Taylor and Aaron Suttles. All the football and basketball news you need there. And don't forget a last call that we have out with Alexander Shinara. Fascinating conversation. Where do I get that?
Where do we get that, Brown?
Anywhere. It's there on YouTube.
Yeah,
Scott's got it up.
Getting some really good feedback on it, too.
Yeah, Scott's got it up on YouTube there, so you can go watch that on our Next Round Live YouTube channel. And, that's where everything lives right there forever. And you could go see Alexander Shinara in the last call. It was a fun conversation. I was talking to somebody. It was like, he's advertising with you now. What's he like? He goes, I've always wondered what he's like. And I'm like, Alex, really cool guy.
Yeah, watch Last Call.
Yeah, Yeah, that is a great way to find out what he's like because I haven't watched the whole thing, but I think I'm about halfway through it, about 20 minutes in. And from my experience of being around Alex, I think his true self shines through in the last
You're
call.
Never going to see The Brutalist.
I know.
3 hours and how many minutes?
It's, I think, 3 hours, 35 with a 15-minute intermission.
I've had to chop up the last call a little bit. I'll get to the end of it, I promise.
Michelson Laser Vision bringing you that look ahead right there. Tell us about Michael.
Yeah, 205-969-8100. Got the procedure done over 2 decades ago. I had the 2200 vision, was legally blind without the aid of contacts. 2015 vision, better than 2020. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinara, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
If you are a business that does a lot of printing, like a car dealership, mortgage company, real estate office, tax office, bank, school, or university, print more and spend less with ImageCraft. ImageCraft is located at 1151 Gadsden Highway in Trussville, just down from the Pinnacle Shopping Center, and online at imagecraft.net. They carry all the major brands like HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, and Xerox. Shop in-store, mention TNR for a 10% discount. Shop online at imagecraft.net with coupon code TNR10. ImageCraft. Print more, spend less.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
So if you're getting ready for the SEC tournament next week, we'll be up there at Losers just off Broadway, brought to you by Kicking It in Coolers. I don't feel like I said that right.
You did not.
It's Kicking It Coolers.
Kicking It Coolers, not Kicking It and Coolers. Kicking It Coolers.
I thought it was just Kicking It Coolers.
It is.
Yeah, I threw the G on there like an old white guy.
Kicking It Coolers.
Kicking It Coolers. Kicking It Coolers. Say it fast. We'll be up there at Losers with our show a week from tomorrow. Alabama locked in now thanks to a Missouri loss and a Tennessee loss to the double bye. Worst case scenario, Alabama's a 4 seed, could be a 3 seed. Taylor's laid it all out for us. They're on our social media platform at Next Round Live for all your basketball coverage. But for Alabama, they are a double bye. Tennessee's a double bye. Florida's the double bye. And Auburn's the overall number 1 seed. And they'll play the first game on Friday. So there'll be games happening all week long. But for our state and our show, the Alabama-Auburn side goes on Friday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday to win an SEC championship. Last year, Auburn did it and did Selection Sunday show from the ballroom of their hotel. And maybe one of the teams will be doing that again this year. Our coverage all next week up there. Being brought to you in part by our friends at Alexander Shinara. They are the trial attorneys that you need to always remember.
And they're headquartered right here in Birmingham, Alabama, for more than 24 years. They've grown to more than 150 lawyers, supported by more than 500 dedicated team members. Elite trial lawyers that have recovered more than $2 billion in claims there. And their mission was to create a firm that could handle any issue that the Birmingham community faced, and Alexander Shinara has done that. The firm now handles not only personal injury claims, but claims for fire and storm damage, bad drug and device claims, disability, workers' compensation, and a host of other claims. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call the Alexander Shinara trial attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case.
Back to the game last night, Nate Oates. He's fighting, man, with a really good roster, but they've lost 4 of 6. Here's what he said after Florida got him last night, 99-94 in a game that had 1 seed implications.
They obviously destroyed us on the glass. Second chance points, they had us doubled. think we gave up 26 fast break points, according to our stats, which is terrible. 26 fast break, 19 second chance, it's 45. That's about half their points came on second chance and transition. So we got to be better. It doesn't matter what your game plan is if you don't get back on defense and can't get a rebound. So, we're going to have to figure it out before we go to Auburn. We got to go number 1 team in the country. We got to go to their place. It's going to be a tough game for us there. And, we're playing for a lot more than just, we obviously can't win the regular season championship. We knew that coming to this game, but playing for SEC tournament seeding, we're playing for NCAA tournament seeding, and we I thought we'd get a little bit better effort than what we got out of some of these guys tonight.
Yeah, I would say this as well. You're also playing for a little momentum. If you were to, I'm not going to say shock the world, but it's pretty dang close to beat Auburn in Auburn, and we'll talk more about that game tomorrow. That could make you feel a lot better going into Nashville.
Well, it certainly could. They struggled into Nashville and struggled in Nashville last year with that same Florida team that they played last night in Nashville.
They ran them out.
Yeah, and then the switch flip for whatever reason in the NCAA tournament for this team, and they were a different team. But I'm with you. I just think as an Alabama fan, you don't want to have to see that again. You don't want to see a team limp into the tournament, even though they'd be a better seed this time, probably still a 2 seed, even if they lose their next 2.
It's still, although you've got the obvious defensive issues, it does seem like a much better team still.
Oh, yeah.
It really does.
Than last year's, you mean?
It does.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
But right now, I think you could sit here and just take Mark Sears aside. Grant Nelson is playing nowhere near his A game right now.
Right.
Nope.
And that's obvious. And what Stevenson is providing, that's obvious.
Young blood has been very inconsistent.
He was next. He's not. If they're not playing Mississippi State, he's great against them. He's not playing his best.
Holloway
basketball.
was a no-show last night.
I don't know why, but he didn't play a lot in the second half. Mo Diabate is not playing his best basketball lately either.
Yeah, look, they've got the talent. I mean, you heard, Dallin Cuff yesterday saying he's got 3 teams that can win the national championship: Auburn, Florida, Alabama.
I wonder if Dallin was back on the show today if he had narrowed that list to 2.
It's so funny. I was at Walk-Ons yesterday afternoon, and he was doing another hit on something, and he had all I could see was the Churchill book.
The Churchill, you were just looking at that the whole time?
I thought you were going to tell me he was doing a hit on ESPN, and he called Auburn, Duke, and Houston. They named 3 different teams.
Yeah, just did it for us, regional bias. So if you go back to the Tennessee, if you win that game, I mean, last night's game, I know they were down 14 at home, but it seemed a lot closer until, some of those loose balls got away and Florida started making some of those shots down the stretch. But even if you just win the Tennessee game, 3-3 over the last 6 feels a lot different against the teams they play.
It's funny when
and if you get Auburn on Saturday, if you were 4-3 in that stretch, you're like, damn, that was pretty good, actually.
When Bama was up 4 with 30 seconds to go at Tennessee, I started thinking, we spent all this time talking what Alabama would be over these last 5 games, and they got, to win that game at Tennessee, beat Florida at home, and then you go to the Auburn game, you might be 5-0. You never know. Yeah. Well, I was wrong about that game.
Just the opposite.
Tennessee game got away with them. They lost to Florida. So it's funny how quickly that changed.
Yeah. All right. It's trash time. It's brought to you by Mortgage Right. Man, what a great time. If you keep an eye on the mortgages, maybe a really special summer coming up for you. A chance to get into that dream home. There's only one name to help you. It's Mortgage Right. Hit it, Tyler.
Congratulations, the Cure Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees 2019. Are you as excited as I am?
By the sounds of it, no.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
If you are looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help, whether you're a first-time buyer, seasoned home buying veteran. Their great service and low rates make the process so easy. Speaking of veterans, veteran founded right here in Birmingham. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home, your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. You guys remember it was almost a year ago today. It'll be a year ago tomorrow where Morgan Wallen decided to toss a chair off a rooftop bar in Nashville.
It seems longer ago. That seems almost pandemic-ish.
Well, according to a now viral TikTok, Eric Church's Bar, Chiefs on Broadway, now selling a drink inspired by Morgan Wallen's infamous chair throwing incident. As fans may remember, Wallen was arrested Sunday, April 7th, 2024, for allegedly throwing a chair off the top floor of Rodney Scott's Barbecue rooftop restaurant on the music venue's top floor. Now, the incident inspired the creation of the new menu item, the chair. Now, according to a photo of the new menu item you see right there, included in the TikTok clip, drink is made up of Smirnoff raspberry vodka, raspberry liqueur, lemonade, and a splash of soda.
Well, you're going to have to like raspberry, all right?
I just puckered up.
Yeah.
A lot of raspberry.
Pull
in
your
that one.
tampon out for that one.
Yeah. So do I get to throw that toy little chair off the edge, or how many people do you think actually will do that?
That's going to be the next problem. They're going to have to discontinue this.
You know it will.
Yeah.
Now, it is served in a red cup with the folding chair hanging out of it. The drink is priced at... You can get anything you want on Broadway. What do you think?
$14.99.
Oh no, I'm going to say with a toy chair and a red cup, I'm going to say that's $20.
It's $19.
$19.
Yeah.
By the way, I know Eric Church. I know his music, and I know that logo is supposed to be eyeglasses, right, and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, very much like it's a bikini top holding up a couple of.
The logo's terrible.
Now that you mention it, yeah.
It looks more like a bikini top holding up.
I did not
couple
know
American
those
made.
were supposed to be eyeglasses.
Yeah, I had no idea
Sunglasses,
either.
Yeah.
They're sunglasses, but
he's a hat and sunglasses guy.
the way they are.
So it's a So it's a pair of sunglasses attached to like the cables, I guess. Is that what it's?
Well, it's like
be?
down on his nose.
Yeah.
It's very weird. It's
he just wears Ray-Bans as he sings.
But that's not how he wears them because they're his.
Yeah, but that looks like they're
terrible logo.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, they look like they're holding up.
Yeah, you're right. Now, if you don't know that he's a hat and sunglasses guy, you don't get that logo done away. That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
and I agree with you.
I'm just saying the Ray-Bans are out of whack.
The marquee over there. The trouble begins April 5th. Rodney Scott's Whole Hog Rooftop Barbecue.
Man, that's.
Yeah. Oh, now I see it. There's the brim of the hat right there, and there's the sunglasses.
Oh, okay. Now I see. Now that's the brim of the hat.
Well, the problem is the sunglasses. Just they're not normal sunglasses.
See, I thought the brim of the hat was up there between the H, the I, and the E.
Yeah.
And then that was like his face and eyes, and that was on the end of his nose.
I see what you're saying now. No. I saw it the whole time, but it's just kind of out of whack.
It is better on the logo that's on the screen here, but in real life, it comes across with that skin-colored brim of the hat that doesn't match the top. That is.
Yeah, you're right. The logo down there, the printed logo,
it's a little better.
Is a lot better than what you've got
in lights.
Yeah, I would just roll it with Chiefs.
Of course, if we're doing a psychology test, I see boobs everywhere.
Yes, I was about to say, Dunaway has turned that into women's breasts.
Hey, how different is this story if a chair hits somebody off that rooftop?
Well, Morgan Wallen would be probably about $55 million lighter in the pocket.
Yeah.
I was just going to estimate what you could get out of him for that.
Yeah, I think
Brought
he
to you
was,
by our friends at Alexander Shinar.
I think he was arrested and was out within minutes. From the report back
pretty
then.
quick, yeah.
I mean, was it a misdemeanor or a felony?
No, he appeared in court, sentenced to 1 week of incarceration. I didn't realize that. To be served at a DUI education center, as well as 2 years probation.
I tell you what, if I don't know what I would do in real time, but if I'm hit by a falling chair off of a bar on Broadway, I'm probably going to play it up on the ground a little bit just to set the.
I'm just going to go cold.
Yeah, just
are
to
you playing?
Yes.
But I don't even think you're playing it up. You get hit by a chair, you're going down.
If I find out it's Morgan Wallen, buddy, y'all are going to have to fill me up off that concrete. I mean, y'all are going to check my pulse multiple times.
I'll be like this. Pretend this is chalk.
Yeah.
I'll be pulling it out of my pocket, handing it to somebody. Go ahead and draw around me.
Well, yeah. I mean, I really think, like, if you ever get hit by a chair, that's the first thing you're like, okay, I'm alive. I hope whoever threw the chair's got money.
Yeah.
Like, if you get hit by a car, you want to be hit by UPS.
Yeah. Somebody dust this for Peyton Manning's fingerprints.
So we got a Texas man allegedly swallowed $769,000 worth of jewelry during a botched robbery in Florida, according to this report. This is Jathan Gilder, 32 years old, pretended to be a rep of an NBA player on the Orlando Magic to gain access to the jewelry in a private viewing room, according to News Channel 8. Incident occurred at Tiffany & Company. Now, after he got access to the jewelry, Gilder allegedly forced his way out of the store with a pair of almost 5-carat diamond earrings worth $160,000 and a pair of over 8-carat diamond earrings worth $609,000.
They're now referred to as the poop diamond instead of the hope diamond.
Gilder also reportedly had a ring that was worth $587,000. Now, the escape from the store was caught on surveillance. An employee was also injured in the altercation. Now, the station said that Gilder then fled the area, but his car was located by police 2 days later. Florida Panhandle area, the station reported the arrest documents state he was being arrested. That's when Gilder decided to swallow several objects. Once in custody, police scanned Gilder, and several foreign objects were detected inside of his body. When told police would wait for Gilder to pass the items and that he would face charges, Gilder told officers, quote, should have thrown him out the window.
Should have. In hindsight, it's probably a better choice.
So how did the employee get hurt? It doesn't say in the story that I've got here.
It didn't say in the article I pulled.
Okay.
Yeah. We use diamonds to cut some pretty hard stuff. That would scare me to swallow a diamond.
Glass, for instance.
Yeah. That would scare me.
This next story is somewhat amazing and just ridiculous all in itself. Now, over the years, officials across Miami-Dade County have renamed a handful of roads across the city. You might recall the time the commissioners voted to rename a portion of 22nd Avenue in Liberty City Moonlight Way after the Oscar-winning film, or when county leaders decided to rename a 4-mile stretch of Palm Avenue as President Donald J. Trump Avenue. Now, thanks to one Miami-Dade County commissioner, you may soon find yourself driving on some interesting streets here. Now, they're trying to pay respect to some local artists like Trick Daddy, Flo Rida, Uncle Luke, Luther Campbell, Rick Ross, Pitbull, DJ Khaled, some others. Here are some of the street names that are being considered.
All right.
Trenches Street, Peace in the Hood Street, Act Up Street, Run the Yard Street, Big Money Baller Street,
Heck yeah.
We the Best Terrace, Still the Baddest Street,
We the Best Terrace.
Chase This Money Street.
Yeah. Where do you live? I live at 276 Chase This Money Street.
Born and Raised Street, I Love My Dog Street, I Deserve It All Street, Closer to My Dream Street, Tunnel Vision Street, and finally No Pain, No Gain Street.
That's right.
I mean, they got a little boring on the street there. I mean, you could throw an avenue or a court in there.
We had one terrace, I think it was.
I don't. Yeah, we had Terrace. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything else is just street.
Yeah.
John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein are going from Dungeons and Dragons to Park Avenue, closing a deal to write a movie based on the board game Monopoly. Now, Lionsgate behind the project, being produced by the Barbie outfit, Lucky Chap, and Hasbro Entertainment. Monopoly dates back to 1935 and challenges players to acquire properties and build houses and hotels, all while avoiding bankruptcy and the dreaded go directly to jail card.
Who plays that character? John Goodman.
Now, the game was created as a way of showing that the consolidation of wealth is overall bad for the health of the economy. Nearly 1 billion copies of the game have been sold, and just as many explosive family arguments has been waged over the game. Lionsgate has long tried to figure out a movie based on Monopoly, with another version of the project having Kevin Hart attached to star. Daly and Goldstein previously worked together on Dungeons & Dragons in 2023.
As well as Game Night.
What about...
I like Game Night.
Wilford Brimley in the day would have been a pretty good Monopoly guy. What about Larry David?
That would work. Throw a mustache on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
luxury tax. Why am I having to pay a luxury tax? And Larry David's voice.
I like Scotty back there working, just gives me a little nod. That one not only hit dead on, but it bounced up.
Yeah.
And so you got like the full frontal.
Got the hit and the rebound.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's Trash Today, brought to you by
the mortgage experts. I heard rates have dropped a little bit. Ran into a realtor on our elevator yesterday. She was saying that. So check it out. Go to mortgageright.com. Call 205-900-7200. NMLS 2239 Equal Housing Lender.
Zach asked a good question. What rules is the game and the movie going to be based on? Everybody's got different rules in Monopoly.
Man, I haven't played in 20 years.
I like Monopoly.
Some of the characters might fight over what happens when you land on free parking.
That's right.
Yeah, I would say that there'll be an evil person that will be breaking the rules in this, as we always have.
And you'll send him straight to jail. Free parking is when you get all the money that's in the middle, right?
So that's the way a lot of people play it. That's the way I always played it.
Me too.
But the official rule is nothing happens.
Well, then why do I put all the money in the middle?
You're not supposed to put the money in the middle.
Oh, so that was part of the free parking rule. That's the way I've always played it.
Why did we put money in the middle?
Any fine, you put money in the middle, or if you pay to get out of jail or luxury tax,
Hey,
all that goes in the middle.
Are there maybe just some concepts that aren't going to make good movies? Like you're forcing so many different directions to make a Monopoly movie. I know Barbie made a ton of money.
Well, maybe 10 years ago, Hasbro also tried to make a Battleship movie with Rihanna.
I remember that.
No, they did. They made it with the Taylor Kitsch kid too.
Yep, absolutely flopped.
What is your token? Like when you pick the token, what's your go-to if you got first choice?
I always go the dog.
Oh, interesting.
I know that's probably the last one for you.
Are you a dog person? Yeah.
I think I just
nicely played.
Is there a race car one?
There is.
Yeah.
There's a car.
I think I either go race car or the iron. I just don't.
The iron.
Is there an iron?
Yeah.
It reminds him of Jane.
I just like something that's not. It doesn't fall over. It's easy to just sit there.
Top use the thimble.
No, thimble's worse than the iron. I would say power ranking is car, top hat, dog, iron, thimble. I think that's your power ranking.
Well, I mean, the dog is hard to set up.
Yeah,
That's amazing. You remember all the pieces.
Keeps falling over.
I played a lot of Monopoly growing up. Did you play it like if you land on the space, you have to buy it? Or I think that's the actual rule. Yeah, no, that's the actual rule. If you land on the space, you have to buy it, or it goes to auction. I think
that's the official rule.
Yeah, I think that's the official rule.
It goes to auction, but
which I don't know why you would not buy it when you land on it.
I'm trying to save my money.
Well, y'all played a lot of Monopoly. I don't think I ever finished a game. Last time I played was the McDonald's Monopoly. It ended up being horseshit.
Yeah,
right?
you didn't realize.
Yeah, good documentary behind that.
Oh,
one.
yeah,
That
one episode too far.
Like if I landed on Tennessee Avenue the first time around.
Why would you not buy it?
Oh, I would.
Okay.
Okay, but then I'm coming back around, and I may, if I land on Park Place this time, I'm going to buy it.
Of course.
But then going back around, if I land on purple and I don't land on anything in the orange with the Tennessee Avenue or whatever, then I probably wouldn't buy the purple. I'd hope to wait on the green and then try to get Boardwalk as well. So if I'm on the orange and the blue, I don't buy the purple or the green.
Okay.
Of course, I've never won, so I may be doing this wrong.
See, I always scoop up the brown spots down here on that first street you go down. They're underrated, but people land on them a lot.
All the time, yeah.
And they're super cheap.
No, the way I learned the game is you buy everything you land on. You don't even think about it.
What was the longest game you've ever played of Monopoly?
Oh, it's going have to
days, right?
Pick it up the next morning. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it can last a long time.
I don't trust anybody in my family that I work with or anybody in the world to leave a game of Monopoly setting out to where nobody's going to go in there and put a couple extra $100.
Brett Brown can't finish a last call 40 minutes, but boy, he'll play multi-day.
So in that scenario, did y'all take the money to your room at that point?
No,
and
we
lock up
were trustworthy. The Brown family was trustworthy. I trusted my family.
No, not me. I'd want.
They were the cleavers, man.
We would need a safe to lock up the bank, so nobody's stealing that.
Jim said, everybody show your hands on your way out.
No, I tell you what, I would have a sheet of paper, and I would count everybody's money, and we'd write it down, and I put it in when I hand it back out to start with. That's what we do.
You audited your family in Monopoly?
Hey, he lost his trust when he showed up. You probably never heard the story, and his home was gone.
Yeah, lost a home one time.
What?
Yeah.
Got to have wheels for that to happen. But
another story, another time.
Yeah.
We wrap up the show here with some thoughts about what's going on in basketball. We've been doing that all day long. The latest Lunardi out only has 12 of the 14 teams in the SEC under consideration. Texas and Oklahoma, actually Oklahoma and Texas in that order, are the ones just on the outside, with Oklahoma with their big win last night. Texas had one earlier this week. And they got a big game coming up that could have some impact. But if you look down at the bottom, multi-bid conferences, that seems to be a little fewer than usual. SEC's there, Big 10, Big 12, Big East, Mountain West, ACC, and the West Coast, and that's it. Not a lot of multi-bid leagues down there.
It's starting to look a little bit like football does, right?
Yep.
I mean, you at least got the Big 12 with 8, but beyond that, I mean, the ACC with 3 is just remarkable.
It really is.
That is remarkable to me.
And the Mountain West with 4 and the Big East with 5. We never talk about this, but the Big 12 with 8, Big 12 doesn't seem as strong this year as it
Well,
has.
Kansas is bad.
Yeah.
We used to say this when Kentucky's bad. People say the SEC's down.
Baylor, too, not as good.
I know.
But it is interesting because now you've got Houston there that is so good, so you would think the Big 12 would be up.
But Iowa State sort of taking on water here at the end. Now, BYU's surging. They're playing good. Arizona's not as good.
It's crazy how Kansas has let Houston kind of take that league over as short a time as they've been in there.
Yeah. Ironically, Indiana's job's open, and a guy that would be really under consideration probably would be Kevin Sampson.
God, how old is Kelvin Sampson?
I mean, he's old as dirt. But
Yeah.
he gets it done everywhere he goes.
Yeah,
They fired him.
I mean, he's another version of Rick Pitino everywhere he goes.
Yeah, just wins, man. All right. We will get a preview of Auburn hosting Alabama tomorrow on the show and talk more football as well. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.